Hey everyone, and welcome to the All Elite Zone podcast on YouTube and Twitch. We are here for our AEW Dynamite live reaction. Should be a pretty decent show tonight. So we're kicking off with tag team match: Moxley Danielson versus Cobb and Fletcher. Should be a pretty good show. I'll be joined by Mr. Jacobs and potentially Paul momentarily. Uh, yeah, should be a. I don't have high hopes for the show tonight, but we'll see. Here we go.
All right, I'm here. Here we go. It's a hell of a start to this show. Is the match officially started?
I know. Like it's no one's really saying anything, or it's a typical Moxley match you'll get in AEW. That drives fans away in droves.
Jeez. I haven't heard a bell yet, so
But what the hell, man? Alright.
You would say
what's going on?
filling with bloody settings. Oh, every time. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're coming in good.
Excellent. So how's everybody? That's
Doing all right.
good. Good to hear.
I'm doing okay.
You said that like you're not, but we'll move on.
You'll probably, yeah. Sometimes it's hard to. I don't know. I understand.
I understand. Believe me, I get you.
Yeah.
When was the last time Jeff Cobb was on AEW? Was on Dynamite? He's been on Dynamite before. I can't
He
believe
was
I
a
can't remember
hired
when.
assassin by someone.
Yeah,
They brought him in for a one-off.
yeah, yeah. That's what it was.
I can't remember the specifics, but I do remember he was hired gun, blah blah blah. No, I do love Jeff Cobb because he's a big lad, but he's so strong.
Yes, he's a freaking powerhouse.
But when you're a big guy that can do your powerhouse moves to guys bigger than you, that's special.
Yeah.
Well, not everyone has that just core strength.
I don't think Kyle Fletcher's won one match this entire year.
Now you think about it, I don't think he has
On
either.
AEW. Let me see. I have the records pulled up.
Isn't he a Ring of Honor champ?
Yeah, he was their TV champion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if he defends that. I mean, no Samoa Joe held it for like 600 something days, or
Yeah.
Kyle Fletcher. Damn, he's 0-6 this year.
0-6. Wow.
His overall record is 11-22. But I don't know. Hopefully, Mark Davis gets back pretty soon, and Aussie Open can.
Yeah, that's really where something special happens when those two guys are together.
I agree.
He's really just being ROH television champion just to do something until Mark Davis.
But he is one of those guys that, like, some people hate this expression, but he's not going to be anything for a couple years. But in a couple years, he's going to be something. he's one of those guys you put investments in now, so then 2 years down the line, you have something special.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. You can have a run with them.
Like, he's still super young. He's got some learning to do. Like,
Yeah.
he's great, but he can be so much better. Give him 2 years with John Moxley. He's going to be amazing.
I can see that.
See, I already know who's going to win this.
It's kind of written on the wall. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I know it's going to be weird to watch John Moxley lose on Dynamite, but hey.
He never loses, really. He never. Like, a lot of people like trash on Malachi for not putting anybody over, but golly, look at Moxley.
True.
Moxley actually has it's either Orange Cassidy or Moxley who has the best record. Moxley has 138 wins, 25 losses, and 2 draws.
It says something about
Orange
like who you are as a character on a show, that your record is as good as probably one of the best wrestlers on the whole roster.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, best is subjective, but Moxley is a special person with a special place on the card.
Moxley possibly might be number 2.
And Orange Cassidy has been building for a couple years, right?
So he has 151 wins, 40 losses, and 2 wins. I mean, and 2 draws.
That's pretty cool.
But Moxley has less losses than Orange Cassidy. So, who's third? I'm curious. It's got to be Austin Gunn. Out of anybody you would expect. Austin Gunn's 88-19.
Huh. I would have thought differently about that one.
I could see Darby having a good run. Sting definitely has a good record, right? Like, who's beaten Sting clean?
Right.
Yeah, and he has the best. Well, he retired, so he had the best record of all time. Went undefeated.
True.
Darby, 113 wins, 38 losses, and 1 draw.
Not bad.
He's more of a fighting champion, I would say. Like, when I think of Darby, I think of someone who wants to be on TV. Like, I want to kill myself on television, so the more television time I get, the better the chance that it might happen.
I mean, he's definitely hungry. I mean, you can see that.
Oh, yeah. And he's young. He doesn't have those big injuries yet.
Max Caster has a really good record. He has 115 wins and 39 losses.
He's another younger guy that you can build the next couple of years on, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Hobbs is 2 wins away from 100, which that won't happen until he's back from injury.
So like a little bit of a tangent, but Powerhouse Hobbs, can we get him in a New Japan run or something? Like, just to get him some good solid ring time with some like big solid folk. I think it would.
I wouldn't mind seeing that. I would not mind seeing Hobbs in Japan.
He's going to have surgery, I think, so he's going to be out.
Yeah, no, fair enough. He'll but I like Hobbs, and he's one of those, like, he puts me all the time. Like, why more Hobbs? Give me more Hobbs.
See, Serpentico, they have his record all wrong. Some tells me they're not wanting to put any more losses on his record. Because I actually keep up with this stuff, and on the page it says 18 wins and 129 losses. Well, that's not his record.
Wow, that cannot be true.
That might be true, because when he started, he was on Dark, and he worked his way up, and he was one of those first guys that people went, oh, this guy's got something here.
Well, his actual record is 18 and 150. I actually keep up with this every match, They're not,
Spreadsheet?
They're not wanting to add any more losses.
He's reached his limit.
Which they've added some wins to his record that he never won. Just to, I guess, not to make him look too bad.
I think you just gotta get him a few accolades, like something good.
Mm-hmm.
Tag team championship run with someone. Give him, you know what I mean? Just let him step by step. but he's
Yeah.
been the most up and down push person in the whole company when it comes to hot cold.
He ain't gonna do it. Like the best that he'll do is win the ROH tag titles. He's been down for the match.
It sucks, but yeah, it might be the truth.
Yeah.
But at
Yeah,
the
one thing I
same
will
time,
say about Hobbs, is that they have gold right there. And I think all they got to do is just give him that right push, man. That right push. And I'm telling you, like years from now, he's gonna be in that heavyweight title picture.
yeah,
I cannot,
think they
I can't doubt that.
they haven't found that one thing that clicks the most with him. Like,
Yeah.
does he need a faction so he could be the big bully tough guy? Like, what, you know what I mean? What kind of magic touch does he need that he can just shoot up the ranks?
He needs a booker.
Hey, because sometimes those big guys, they need a little, like, bad example, but they need an Enzio Amore. So you're a big scary dude and you got a little
Right.
dude running around you just talking mad crap the whole time.
The mouthpiece.
Sometimes it clicks, yeah. Like, was it Farouk was a big lad, and all of a sudden this Rocky Johnson fella started hanging out with him, and all of a sudden there's a little bit of lightning going around.
Which they kind of had that with Ricky Starks. That's his mouthpiece. But looks like Ricky Starks is on his way out. There's going to be a lot of people in the coming months, too.
Yeah, I can see that definitely.
Ricky Starks, Wardlow, Malachi. Hook is.
That's somebody else. Wardlow. That's somebody that I think they're dropping the ball with.
They got so many stars.
A really good example.
Like the TNT stuff, like that's all on booking.
Can we just do it like a 2-man power trip type story with Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs team up and just they're so strong no one can stop them? I would watch that. Awesome. Just two big men like causing chaos.
Just destroying everything.
And then they just keep getting other giant big men to join their faction.
I would love that. That would be sick.
Jeff Cobb, join our big meaty men faction.
Those ropes don't look tight at all. I don't know, they're not really. I'm used to the ropes.
Cobb's gonna stick around for a bit because it is Best of the Super Junior right now in New Japan, and that goes on for like a month. Mm-hmm. So I'm curious if he stays in AEW for the month or a couple weeks and then goes back. I haven't seen their card, so I don't know if he's on their card in a couple weeks.
That's one thing I gotta say about Danielson's gear. It's very dragon-like. I love that. It's pretty cool. Got some little scales on the side. It's pretty dope.
Even the cornrows, like I know it's a bit much, but the cornrows add a nice little effect to it.
It's a good look for him. I like it.
He's gonna kick out.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That was a nice tombstone. I gotta say that. The leaping tombstone looked like it was.
Jeff Cobb now with Moxley up on the shoulders. Fletcher to the top. Maybe a version of a doomsday device here, but no. Cobb sent into Kyle Fletcher in the corner. Moxley.
Oh, Michinoku driver. Is that what you're talking about?
No, the power drive. I mean, he did a leaping tombstone.
There you go. 1, 2, 3.
There it is. Damn. Moxley hit that finisher flush though. That was good. Just how is Danielson not going to see that before he got I mean, didn't okay, never mind. Never mind. I could have sworn that. Okay, so okay, never mind. The cameras are cut in different ways. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I was just wondering how Danielson didn't see Takeshita coming in, but I don't know. Maybe he wasn't looking, or he was attacked before. I don't know. I couldn't see Danielson whenever he came in.
No, dude, it's Takesh just so fast that all Danielson saw was like a blur, and he didn't, like he
Because he just
rolled the
walked in
low.
there, and I would think Danielson would see him.
Why are you having a countdown for Swerve Cage? I already know who's going to win.
It's becoming predictable. I agree. It is becoming pretty predictable lately.
I like Brian Cage, and he always loses. I already know. I don't want to get disappointed anymore.
But you gotta remember, it's not him. It's the people behind the curtain. They gotta give it's up to them.
That's
Real
the
life.
that's
Real
a fair
life.
problem when you have a wrestler who the real name is a real name the
Real
like
life.
the character name. It's hard to separate, right?
Right.
Or when you
Like
try to call a real person by the character name.
I'll just video package for Swerve though. Probably about the only story Tony ain't destroyed.
I mean, I'm wondering why is it now when Swerve becomes champion, they want to start doing all the press and stuff. Why haven't they could have been doing it a long time ago with different champions? Get the name out there. Get AEW's name out there. Why are you doing it now? I mean, nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, why wait till Swerve is champion and start doing all the press junkets?
There's good underdogs too.
I don't know. See, I always liked press conferences and stuff like that. You can kayfabe them. You can have so much fun with them.
Right, it's gonna be interesting.
There's a great video of Gabe Kidd going on the local news and just being an absolute British madman, cutting promos the whole time. People are trying to talk about the weather and stuff. It's like, yes, this is what's entertaining about wrestling. These eccentric people going on these shows and just being madmen.
I love it. I think it's hilarious.
Besides Christian and Swerve, this is one of the main feuds I'm really invested in. Malachi and Edge. I don't call him. It's just hard to call. He's not Adam Copeland. He's Edge.
I mean, I get that. You've been calling him Edge for so many years. I mean, it's
Or
kind
at
of hard to
least
just
to
cut
me,
that off.
at least to me, he's Edge. Like someone who knows him personally. Like
You need to do something significant where people will now call him by the new name, right?
Mm.
Like TNT had that for years. No one wanted to call him Impact, right?
Yeah, it's kind of like if Randy Orton came to AEW. I'm not going to call him whatever his real name. I'm calling him Randy Orton. Like that's Randy Orton. That's not anybody else.
Also, for
Just go
simplicity's
by Keith
sake,
Orton.
Edge is much cooler and shorter than Adam Copeland.
Why not
Right.
Adam Edge Copeland?
Bum, 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 bum.
I think WWE has the rights to Edge. I believe they own the
No, I
rights.
know, but I'm just saying that name is so much cooler. So your
It
brain
is.
wants to use that
All
one
he's got to
instead of
do,
Adam
all
Copeland.
he's got to do is go change his name to Edge, and
I
then
don't know, I feel like when people tell each other to cope. I'd like that.
Why you try to keep up with this facade of what you think you
I gotta admit, this stuff between Malachi and Adam is pretty fire. I gotta say.
Now,
They're gonna break his wedding ring. I
look how his
bet.
hands just dropped. He is out.
No, he's trying.
What the hell is this all
He'll
about?
need it anyways.
So does everyone book House of Black in their own head being this massive faction that takes over AEW?
What is his
Just
game?
book
That'd be
it.
cool.
Because I feel like that's what everyone's booking is Malachi keeps spitting in people's faces and like corrupting them. And now he has like an army of 9 or 12 people. And, like, you know, you can have some girls and a bunch of guys. And
Oh, they were like Taz said, they were choking him out, right, Taz? When they were taking
All
him
right,
out.
I'm confused. What are they doing with the ring?
He got that hide
I
on.
don't get that either.
And it's gonna steal it.
I guess so. He just put it
Where
in his
was
pocket.
this? Colorado. Where you come from? That didn't make any sense. There wasn't no really extra why they're taking the ring. Just to take it, I guess. Steal it.
I don't get that either. It must be coming up later at some point in the story.
I guess stealing it, palming it off.
They're going Quentin Tarantino style. They're telling the story in different parts.
Yeah. Well, there goes Kyle Riley. See you in another 2 years. Because realistically, those Kingston, you destroy his neck again.
Oh man. They dispatched him pretty quickly. Damn.
Malachi has to be the TNT title at this point because they had Edge beat Brody King. No. First, I had him beat Buddy Matthews. Then the next week, I had him beat Brody King. If he beats Malachi, then they just buried the entire group. At that point, like just let Malachi leave. I mean, at that point, you done buried the entire group. But normally, like AEW's done this before with the factions, where they'll have someone a faction, and they'll have the champion beat certain members of their group, and then in a title match, the leader of the group ends up winning the belt. They've done it before.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly who, but I remember them doing it.
Yeah, it's happened.
So hopefully they put the TNT title on Malachi. I'm surprised he's never won a singles title in AEW.
That
He
is
was
surprising.
injured a lot, but there was some times where he wasn't injured and he wasn't really doing anything.
I mean, it is surprising he's never held a singles title in AEW yet. It is very surprising.
I was watching his. I was randomly watching some stuff, and I was watching his match with. Who was it? I believe it was Keith Lee in NXT. It was really
Oh
really
yeah.
good.
Surprise, surprise, Eddie. What the hell? The EVP of the New Japan ring. New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's been a minute, right? Threw your hat in with the wrong team on Wednesday night. The Mad King, Eddie Kingston, has had enough of the elite. Eddie Kingston tells it how it is, right? Eddie Kingston's a real one. But you sure didn't hesitate to jump in bed with a bunch of fakes who pretend to represent what AEW is about. You just paid for that right now.
Jungle Boy has become a Jungle Man.
Jungle Man! Jack Perry. Oh my god. Okay, so how does everyone feel about heel Jack Perry?
I love it personally.
Good
I
answer.
love
If your answer is you don't like him, you're wrong.
It's refreshing. It's something that he needed, I think.
I think okay. We all can have our opinions. If you don't like him, that's fine. I'm just joking. But I think how they made him a heel was very smart.
Unless, of course, you guys want to forfeit. That's a great point, Jack. Hey, let's
And quick, going back to this,
the first week.
if you viewers have not seen the Eddie Kingston Gabe Kidd ropeless ruleless match, definitely go and watch that. Those guys are
It's what they call us
brutal.
Hey, Kingston's out.
But Gabe Kidd's a real like hit him hard fighting kind of guy. They put on a hell of a match.
Looks like Eddie Kingston is out of the Anarchy in the arena.
Well, that sucks.
backup.
I don't know who they
The
get to.
University of Maryland.
I know he's not actually injured, but
Getting a bachelor's degree doesn't have to mean starting from scratch.
they can't do MJF or
Here,
Kenny
you can
Omega.
earn up to 90 undergraduate credits for relevant experience. What will your next success be?
Oh, I'm going to take a bathroom break, guys. Be right back.
All right.
He wants to take the world. He's mine.
Oh no!
I made you
I have
breakfast.
an idea. Okay, so Eddie Kingston's injured, right? And there's a mystery person coming in. Depending on how they want to play it, Kazuchika Okada and Yota Tsuji have had some pretty vicious back and forth. So depending on who they want to bring in, that's a feud that's kind of currently going that they can just pluck that guy kind of right in.
Lost damage? Choose Safe Flight. We can come to you and replace your windshield.
Schedule free mobile service now at safelight.com.
Safe-Flight repair, Safe-Flight replace. Remember, Dad, we've got Greenlight Infinity. You can see my location in real time, so you know I'm safe.
When I was your age, it wasn't that easy. Does anyone have a quarter so I can tell my mom I'm safe? Anyone?
Bring your family into the financial future.
Oh, Connor, is that your? Okay, I can hear the show through your mic.
Come to Cricket?
Yeah.
Stay with Cricket. Cricket gives
It's
me
been way too long to figure out that's what it was.
Stop! This came all the way from the top. New offer, 5G plan starting at $15 a
All
month.
right, I'm back.
You're on Cricket.
TNT Sports docuseries with shocking true stories behind sports winning scandal. If this were true, his reputation would be ruined. Rich and Shameless, all new after the NBA Western Conference Finals on TNT. Do you have it in you to make it epic?
All right, I get it. Quit showing the same commercial.
They do that all the time. It's annoying.
You stay big about new movie Furiosa and Mad Max Saga.
Don't miss the Furiosa Epic Movie Marathon, Saturday on TNT.
Oh, God.
That's American television. What do you want?
Exactly.
I do like that I'll get like 5 seconds of commercial on the streaming service and I get really angry. But on television, there's like 2-3 minutes, and you're like, "I was gonna do."
Well, that's the thing. You go to streaming to escape commercials, and they follow you anyway.
It's like you pay for cable anyway, and they get you even worse. So
That's true.
Hey guys, I'm here with FTR. Dax, tonight you have a Continental Championship match against Okada. But earlier tonight we did hear from our EVPs, and unfortunately they're right. You guys are down a man heading into Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing. What are you guys going to do?
First of all, they're not our EVPs. That's just Matt and Nick Gus. But second of all, if you guys honestly think
Yeah,
we're
they kind of are your bosses, though.
you guys, you think we're not going to come into Anarchy in the Arena 3-on-4, 2-on-4, 1-on-4, it doesn't matter to us. But I think maybe we found a fourth for Anarchy in the Arena. And Okada, name calling's not very nice.
Ooh, I know one person that could be, but it'd make Revolution a complete why.
Maybe we'll find out tonight, huh?
I mean, Team AEW. I mean, the person beat them Revolution. I mean, he whooped them all over the arena. You think Team AEW, I mean, you think possibly Sting, but then Revolution was pointless then.
I think that's really cool. I'm way behind you guys. With seeing Young Bucks having a Reebok deal,
That's crazy.
that's crazy. Like people can hate them, but like that's how you make money is you get those deals that those guys
That's true.
somehow they somehow can get them. When they were
I'll
in the
give it to
Indies,
him, man. You know, get a shoot deal. That's big. That's a big
I
deal.
love that deal. That's wild.
And it's with a reputable. And it's with a reputable company. You know, with
And they're cheaper shoes. It's not like Jordans. They're going to be expensive. I do like Shaq, like guys like that, where they're like, "Look, we'll go with a company where it's not. We're not going to charge you an arm and a leg." If kids want Young Buck shoes, make them affordable, and then parents will buy them, and that's how you make money off those
That was the
kind
cool
of
thing about
products.
Shaq. That was the cool thing about Shaq. He made his shoes affordable. Just about everybody I knew had a pair of Shaqs.
And those are awesome things because then you see them more.
Yeah.
Like if they're unaffordable, you'll only see one or two as you're casually walking around. But if they're kind of cheap, all the kids will have Young Buck shoes. Money.
Oh yeah. Ching ching.
All the kids at school have Young Buck shoes. I want Young Buck shoes.
Kids.
Well, how
Oh,
much are
super
they?
kicks.
$50? Yeah, whatever. They're $50. You know,
I want my super kicks.
that is a good name for a shoe, though. I'm telling you.
That could
Oh, yeah.
that could just done this
You
much
got
Lion figure if they wanted to.
Super
Right.
money, print money.
I don't get the point of this match at all.
Me neither, bro. I don't either.
Just doing
But
it
it's
to
good to
do
see
it.
Christopher Daniels.
So I'll say that.
Just doing it to do it at this point.
It's good to see the fallen angel. I'll admit that.
Is a big opportunity for Christopher
Some of
Daniels.
these matches are kind of like,
Emotionally charged match.
what's that thing in America where it's like you have to work so many days to have insurance?
It's live right now. Play now.
So they go, oh crap, Christopher Daniels' insurance is going to run out unless he's on TV for 3 or 4 more times.
All the 401k stuff.
Get him in there.
Backside out. Start things out with
I know that. Oh no, that might be an acting thing because I know there's things with like SAG cards where you have to work in a movie every so often or in a TV show, and then as long because Terry Funk did that, he said as long as you do one movie, you have your SAG card for so many years, and the insurance
Got
goes
that
on the
insurance.
SAG card instead of you paying. He did this in the '80s. It was brilliant.
That's why you notice a lot of these wrestlers going to acting because hell, their insurance is good.
Yeah, you might as well. Plus, that's what wrestling is acting, right? Well, it's not the best acting, but you know,
It's a mixture of it all.
kind of doing the same. That's stage theater. Like if stage actors can transition to movies, so can wrestlers.
It's like a violent play. That's what wrestling is.
Yeah. And plus, you have an actor that can be their own stuntman, and you can market off that. Like everybody loved that about like Jackie Chan. That's his own stunts. Whoa, he's an actual badass. Blah blah blah. See, that's something I'll always harp on. I always bring it back. Wrestling companies should do TV mini movies. Like remember back in the day, they'd have these like made for TV movies that were really low budget, but they were just kind of silly and fun. Why don't you make a couple themed off of the wrestlers you have? Like, why isn't there an Undertaker movie that's 60 minutes? You know, like
That's not a bad idea though. I'd watch an Undertaker movie.
Hangman Page, give him a Western where all he does is fight bad guys in saloons and throw them through windows and hit them with chairs and tables. Make it low budget. Make it campy. You don't have to put a lot of work into it because the fans know it's going to be low budget and campy. And just have fun with it.
That's not a bad idea. I like that idea actually.
There is a market for micro budget movies. Like a lot of people like low budget stuff now. Fallen Angel, it might be harder, but that's a character you could make a movie out of.
Absolutely.
And you make it like a silly 80s, 90s slasher like Hellraiser or something.
I can see that.
Yeah, make it a bit of fun. And you're like, I'll pay $9.99 for that. I'll buy that on a streaming service or whatever. Like, but then again, I've watched like 30, 35 different wrestling movies.
Welcome to the show. I just love being out there with you guys. It's the only thing that matters to me. Rated R, now streaming exclusively on Max.
That's weird.
At Ace, we know not all
In
pain
theaters, Iron Claw was PG-13, but
Start with our most
on Max it's rated R.
Ace has this collection
I'm guessing they have the full extended version.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah.
But even still, then it.
Around the block, what you need in stock, with service so good it's guaranteed. And right
It's still crazy that some of the things that they portrayed in the movie they wouldn't have done in real life. Just by our interviews, like Kevin Von Erich said that his mom would have never said to just go talk to your brothers about it. Like she would have never said that.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
weird.
there's a lot of that in movies. You got to tweak a couple things so it fits a screenplay. Like that's sort of normal.
Like even one of the brothers, doing that, he called him. He called him from like a hotel or something.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name, but like the scene where he was very he had that gun and stuff. He came to the house or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he would have.
Spoiler.
He would have never liked that. He was never like that. Actually, Kevin Eric's sons told us that he was never serious. He was always just playful all the time, never serious.
Inspire sleep apnea innovation.
I don't know. I like to see the real version of the Von Erich story.
Oh, if you want to hear about a movie that's nothing like nothing like real life, there's a Robin Williams movie where he was like a doctor that was like a goofy doctor that made
Patch
people
Adams,
laugh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Patch Adams.
So it's a cool, like, cute little movie that you can watch. But apparently, when you hear about the real Patch Adams and like what they did to the story to change it, you're like, that's nothing like the original story. Why would you change everything about?
Right now, Sonic shakes are half price.
But they didn't
Great
change
movie, though.
much about it.
Online or in the app. So save on your strawberry shake today. and
Well,
your
Robin Williams is a treasure, so it's hard to.
Sonic half price shakes after 7 p.m. and online and app exclusive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Connor. I mean, there's things that they omitted from the movie. There's like a handful of things they omitted from the movie. It was still a good movie, though.
Yeah, like even though they kind of made the story their own, it was. I mean, it wasn't totally their version, but they did tweak some things that probably wouldn't have happened since it is based on a true story. Just by our conversations with Kevin Von Erich and his sons. But they're actually going to be working on I think they're having their own podcast now. At least his two sons are Kevin and Von.
Oh, that's great.
Kevin and not Kevin, Ross and Marshall Von Erich. I don't know what it's called, but they're fixing to be starting their own podcast. So,
Oh, that's cool. I gotta check that out when they come out with that.
yeah, I can't remember where I've seen that, but I've seen it somewhere.
I love how the Young Bucks are so douchey. They didn't even want to get in their ring gear. They just said, "We'll just wear these."
Matthew Jackson, I love that.
And now he's Matthew.
Oh yeah, okay. So slight tangent, but on topic of the Young Bucks, I'm going through my phone and Facebook says, "Oh, you have a memory," and I click on it, and it's photos I have of like the Young Bucks, Cody, and a couple other people all wrestling in Ring of Honor. And I was like, wow, that's so crazy how 6 years they're going from like tiny ass arenas for a company halfway across the world. And now they have this, they're both like massive part of these massive corporations.
It's pretty cool to see like the whole story of it all, how it led up to right now. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, when you have a character that has that long-term evolution and you kind of get to follow it. Like imagine being a person, I never got to do this, but imagine being a person who was there the first time Roman Reigns got introduced on NXT. Imagine watching that and going, I don't know if I see this guy being anything. Well, and then years now watching it, being able to see that progression would be amazing.
Actually, I did watch when he first came into the NXT, and that's back when he had this gimmick to where he was like, you see what this watch, you see the watch, we know what time this watch says. See what this watch means. It's this big man's watch. He has something to do with the watch. I know when he first started. But I saw when he first debuted in NXT.
See,
I
I
knew that
started
they had
watching
something
NXT when like Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens started showing up. That's when I
Mhm.
sort of dipped in.
I kind of got
Yeah.
into it like right after they changed the name from Florida Championship Wrestling to NXT, and I got it, and that's when I kind of jumped into the NXT. It was like right when it started, and that's whenever it became like. Well, at first it was like this silly TV show, silly
It was like
reality
a
TV
game
show.
show. I remember seeing clips of it where it's like they would kind of make them do weird obstacle courses, but it would almost seem like
Yeah.
you were just killing time.
Exactly. And I mean, at first that's the way it started, and then they took it more serious, and then they took over, or they bought out Florida Championship Wrestling, which Dusty Rhodes had a big hand in, and they kind of turned it into NXT. So that's whenever that's whenever I first saw Roman Reigns.
It was like absorbing the developmental and just actually saying, you know what? No, it's a part of us and it's developmental.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, I remember watching. I'm gonna age myself here. But I remember watching Rey Mysterio in WCW
Oh
and
yeah.
going, "Oh my god, this guy's amazing! He comes out dressed like Spider-Man. He does backflips. This is the best guy in the world." And now his kid, there was the Dominic match with Eddie years ago, decades ago, and now
Yeah.
Dominic's a full-grown man.
Has his dad's mustache now.
I do like the heat Dominic gets though. It's the perfect heat where
Oh
everyone's
yeah.
in on it. There's no nastiness. You don't go online and people are saying really bad things about him. Like they'll say it in character. Oh,
Right.
look at what's on his face, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, that's a bit working, but no one's being like arguing crazy.
Right.
Like the Bucks, Punk, there's a few wrestlers where people will just fight and everyone's like, oh, Dominic? Oh yeah, Dominic's all right.
Yeah.
Moving
Exactly.
on, yeah. But that's what you want in the business, right? Because he could go to AEW, he could go anywhere. He has the family name. He's well respected in the business. He can do whatever he wants.
That's true. And from what I hear, he's beloved backstage. I mean, nobody has an issue with him.
And that's the most important thing, right? People are going to say, well, he's going to show up and make our locker room feel better. So, yeah, hire him as much as we can.
Yeah,
And he's young. Isn't he fairly young? Like, I want to say he's 30. Like, they make him seem
he's
so
going
much
into his
younger.
early 30s, I believe.
Yeah, so he's still got realistically 20 more years of wrestling in him if he knows kind of how to evolve.
Oh yeah, it's in his blood. He's going to be doing it for a while.
And look who he's wrestling with. He's wrestling with Finn Balor, who's literally been wrestling for like 30 years. So
Yeah.
who invented Bullet Club, like who did all this cool stuff, and like the Demon, like has all this creativity but knows how to use it.
He's definitely in good company. I love Tony Storm. My God, she is doing a brilliant job these days. Shout out to RJ City. I think he's the one that came up with the whole timeless character. I love it.
See, I'm happy that I'm happy that people are enjoying it because it never clicked for me. Like, I'm not saying it's bad or whatever. But I'm just like, I don't know. I never really like.
I guess yeah. I guess it's more of an American thing because she's kind of she kind of harkens back to old Hollywood.
It's. I don't want to use the word hokey in a bad way. It's very camp. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, hey, if people love it, they love it. Like, go for it. But it was always one of those gimmicks where it's like, it's like it's hit and miss sometimes. Like when it cuts to her and it's black and white, and it cuts to something else, it's color.
That's what I love.
Okay, you slowly win me over with small stuff like that, but I guess
I think what I love most about it is that she is all in with it. She takes this character and runs with it. I love
and that's fantastic. That's what you want. the Cruella de Vil. You know,
Yes.
just go full
Yes.
Disney villain.
Exactly. Go full Disney on it.
So Terrell, thanks for watching. There, guys. Has weekend on Mother's Day last Sunday. It was pretty good for me. What about you guys?
Hidden fees? We don't have.
Hello, Terrell. Hassan Terrell. Thank you for joining us. My weekend was all right.
Now that's more like it. Get unlimited
A lot.
5G data powered by Verizon for $25 a month.
Yeah, that seems about right.
That's right. 25 a month means 25
I would actually put MJF first, Darby second, then third could be a toss up between Sammy and Perry, because MJF and Darby has had the most success in AEW, where Perry is only he's been the tag champion, tag and
Yeah, he's tag champ.
FTW.
I think Jack Perry's, like I said about what was it, Kyle Fletcher. Jack Perry's one of those wait a couple years guys. Wait a couple years. Don't floor it just now. Like his heel work now is good. Let him build up a bit more. I think he's going to be fantastic. Give him 2-3 years.
At Dots, an ordinary pretzel just isn't enough.
I agree because there's a lot of examples of people being pushed way too early and it just falls flat.
And all the other pillars are more I don't want to use attractive in the wrong way, but look, MJF can command a crowd. Darby, you just look at him and you go, what is this guy's problem? And then Sammy Guevara's got a lot of charisma, right? So Jungle Boy's sort of tucked in the bottom of these extremely charismatic people.
Darby, I feel like, is one of the best. He's not better than MJF, just for the simple fact that he's not as good as MJF on the mic, and he doesn't have which I like heel MJF. I don't know why they're turning babyface. No one wants that.
It came out kind of cheesy.
But yeah, it's not the same. It's not the
tournament. You could turn him face in a while, but there needs to be someone more anti AEW that comes in that would make sense. Like just random example. Let's say the NWO came in to AEW. If MJF became Team WCW or Team AEW, I'd go, okay, that makes sense because he's still, he's out there, but he's like Sting, right? Like he's still WCW, but so I could see that, but no, he needs to always be the dickhead, always be the heel.
I agree.
Yeah, once they turned him face, I mean, he still does he has good matches still and stuff, but it's just not. It doesn't hit the same anymore.
Yeah, the magic is gone.
I think done right, you can make him a heel that everybody will love no matter what. Like Stone
Okay,
Cold.
I'm going to pitch a
random
heel.
I'm
going to pitch a random idea. MJF needs a backstage segment similar to remember those old 80s ones where they'd have the Heartbreak Hotel or the barber shop, and it'd be like a really crappy set with 2 chairs and it's pretending to be a TV show. Give MJF that. You get 5 minutes of every television show. You don't have to wrestle. You just talk. You can interview other people. Would you just make an acronym, MJF?
Made official for Double or Nothing.
MJF Live.
Barbed wire steel cage match. Copeland versus Malachi Black.
Live from New York, it's MJF Live.
But also Darby, like a lot of people in AEW, especially Hangman, like they don't want to take advice from more experienced wrestlers. But Darby, he's pretty much went against every big name and came out better with it. Like he went against, he's worked with Sting, Jericho, Danielson, Punk.
Okay, so here's
Cody.
I totally agree. Yeah. Like he's one of those guys that seems to get a rub from the older guys better, but every older guy has told him to stop taking those bumps, and he's like, nah.
I don't think he'll be wrestling by he's 40.
I think he'll be our modern day Mick Foley. Like he'll do a bunch of crazy bumps. Yeah. He'll have a weird Bam Margera-esque exit from wrestling, and then he'll okay, that might have been a poor taste example, but You know what I mean, right? Like Mick
I
Foley
gotcha.
was like that. He went to TNA, and it was like Ric Flair did it. He went to TNA, and it's like I think you guys need a bit more help than just money, right? Like
A lot of frustration. And up inside that man is hooked. Now, big cross bases across the
Oh, poor Sebastian.
right up the control line. And now Red Rum,
He wants to make quick work of this, Taz.
Boom.
locked in immediate.
That was quick.
Well,
That's sending the message.
Oh, thanks for coming, Sebastian. Will.
hey, all the respects to Sebastian Wolf because
This match.
that's an excellent position to be in when in your career.
This isn't what I'm here for. I'm here for Chris Jericho and my FTW championship. Chris.
I'm gonna say it. I think people look at jobbers the wrong way. Some people they say jobbers and they kind of put it down, but it's like, dude, this guy's probably been working the indies for the last few years. And AEW called him and said, "Hey, do you want TV time?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, dude! I'll do whatever you want." He's probably so hyped. He probably got a decent paycheck.
Hell, I get a chance to jump on TV. I'm jumping on.
Dude.
Oh, here we go.
And it's like I totally had that perspective change because it's like who knows, I might be there in a couple years, right? Like I grew up with Jody Threat, and then she had that moment with Athena where she got that moment. It's like, wow, that's super cool.
Makes me want to puke in my own mouth.
I mean, to get that call, man, that's pretty cool stuff, though. To get that call, come on TV, get your shine. Come on, man, that's awesome.
Never liked Jericho.
And especially to not be like a 1 second jobber. Like if you're facing Brock Lesnar, you're going, oh yeah, you're getting 5 seconds. Like you're getting up at 5 done. But at least with some of these matches, you're like, you're gonna get 5 minutes. Like you're gonna get a couple punches in. Like you're definitely gonna lose, but you know, you'll get a couple.
They get their shit in at least.
Because I remember that Jody Threat Athena match blew up the internet. Everyone's like, wow, they shot on each other. And it's like, no, they're physical women. Like, and they had a physical match. Where's the surprise?
Hopefully you learned your lessons after you essentially hit yourself in the face with a baseball bat. I understand why you did it. I hope you figured it out. But I'm just glad you called me out here.
I don't know how I feel about this learning tree thing, but whatever.
just a rerun of everything else we've seen.
I'm on the bandwagon of I'm not a fan of Chris Jericho at the moment.
I want all the spotlight on you.
I'd rather have the wizard than the learning tree.
For my FTW
Yeah, there's been a couple better iterations. Like I even like the Painmaker. I know I might get some heat for that, but
I like the Painmaker too. He's cool.
I didn't mind the gimmick. The makeup's a little silly, but having him be more vicious and be more of a street fighter is always a great thing.
I'm an old school. You know, I love you know, Lionheart. That's the, you know, I'm a Lionheart guy.
It's a teaching moment. Oh, brother. And what I want to
We're going to
teach
get Jericho and Hook. They'll run out there. Nobody's going to win it back.
Yeah,
How many
it's gonna
times
be
You
bad.
do
Like
a
Hulk?
TLC gimmick where it's TLJ,
Just like me.
the learning J.
Remember that. I mean,
Like, I don't know how many times, like, the only thing they can do with Hook is have him as FTW champion, lose it, and then win it back just for something different to do.
Yeah.
He's already accomplished everything there is to do with that title.
I see. I think there's another like I'm not a big fan of the FTW, but I think if they want to push Hook, I think you might need a junior heavyweight title or something.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
he's great,
The whole
but when you
point-
put him against other wrestlers, they kind of go, "Oh, you are kind of a little bit smaller." Like
That's true. I mean, the whole point
You know,
of
I
the
hate to
heavyweight
say
championship
it, but-
belt, you know, the whole point of the whole belt when Taz created it was he's going to use it as a stepping stone to get to the heavyweight championship belt of ECW.
yeah,
And that's what I think they should do with this with this run with the FTW belt is to take this and use it as Hook's stepping stone to say, you know, the TNT title.
TNT title, give him a trios title, give him a tag title, give him something to kind of bump him up. Like I am that stickler where I do think that AEW could use a light heavyweight
and if you
belt
can win this match,
because then it gives a bunch of guys that don't necessarily get time something to fight over. And I could pitch a light heavyweight tournament to everybody.
That's a good
Wait,
idea
how
for
does that make
AEW.
He said if you beat me, you'll get a chance to world championship. FCW champion, yeah, sure, the world championship.
Actually, I think I pitched that before, but I think I'll message that to you, Connor, about episode ideas.
He just took this bop Jericho right in the head. That was pretty funny.
The wrestler. Okay. All right, here's your match for Collision tomorrow night or Saturday. Yeah, Hook and Shibata versus Jericho and Big Bill.
Look, what a weird combination. Like Hook and Shibata as a team is kind of cool. You got an old guy, a younger guy teaming together, okay. But then it's like Jericho and Big Bill. Like, what a weird grouping of.
It is.
There you are.
It just feels really, really, really mid. Like,
It just looks off.
well, how did we get to this?
I don't know. That's a good question, Connor. How did we get here?
Where did things go wrong? Like, I remember Dynamite every week, top to bottom, everything was good. You know, everything was. I wouldn't say everything because we did have some bad Marina Shavir stuff and the Nightmare Collective, and then, but most of the episodes were really good. All right, now timer's up, so it should be Swerve and Brian Cage.
Now, this may be a hot take, and a lot of AEW fans might not agree with this. I personally feel that AEW is kind of. I don't think that the cons are that invested as far as their other businesses, and they're not. It's hard. Okay, how am I going to put this? Okay, like they have their soccer teams, they have football teams. I feel like AEW is kind of their thing on the side, and we'll do what we can for the wrestling fans, but their bread and butter is soccer and football and stuff like that. I feel like it's kind of their thing on the side, and that's why I think like it's not as good as it could be because they're not putting that much into it and not delegating as much as they should as far as creative and whatever. But it's just my opinion.
Well, there goes your story, Tony. You're right there in the camera spot.
I think there is a problem where wrestling has a little bit of how do I phrase this so it comes across right? Remember anime a few years ago? The word anime had a little bit of a to it. Anime. Yeah. Like I think wrestling still has a bit of that now where after Dragon Ball and after One Piece and after Bleach and all these big huge franchises, businessmen can go, oh, anime, yes, that's popular, blah blah blah, sure. But with wrestling, I still think even like the big business guys, they still go wrestling.
Right.
It still has that tinge to it.
The stigma.
Yeah, it hasn't broken right through.
Like, I think a lot of Iron Claw's still is like it's a carny thing.
Yeah, I think the Iron Claw's a good start. Like the wrestler, like there's a lot of movies that are playing it for realsies. Like this is not there are wrestling movies where it's wink wink nudge nudge and that's fun, but to have wrestling movies that are like no, this is dead serious topic.
Everyone's coming after you, and you find out who your real friends are, and you can count them on 3 fingers at the end of the day. This is a world title eliminator match, which means if Cage wins,
Eliminator
the
match.
title match against Swerve Strickland in the future, or whoever the
This is the UFC. We've seen a lot of those in AEW, and I mean, it'd be something if like someone actually won and they got a title shot, but nobody wins the eliminator matches really. Like if they're going to continue doing it, they need to make it where it's at least a few times a wrestler actually wins an eliminator match and they get a title shot, because I don't think anyone's won an eliminator match in AEW. I could be wrong, but if there has,
so this is a complaint that I not a complaint, but this is where I could have some criticism about AEW. I think these tournaments they should they don't mean enough, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
do people go, hey, remember that tournament from 3 years ago that meant a lot? Maybe the Continental Classic because they only did that once. But I feel like they should do less of them, but make them more important and stretch them out a bit more. You're constantly having tournaments and eliminators. People are like, well, then what's the importance? But
I
the
agree.
G1 in New Japan, the tournament, if you win it, you get to be in the main event of the. I guess it's like the briefcase or whatever. Like it's an equivalent where it's like you get to be in the big show.
Yeah, there's a stake to it.
Yeah, so that means it's like the Royal Rumble. That's the better example. Sorry, because the Royal Rumble is you get the main event of WrestleMania. But I like tournaments where we're gonna have a 3-week tournament and the winner gets a title shot. Whatever division you're doing, tag tournament, tag title shot, singles, whatever. But you can stretch them out. You can give them more stories. You can give them more intricate things going on. Like that's why I do like New Japan because there's 3 or 4 tournaments. They do them once every year, and you wait for the next one. Oh, next year the tag tournament's going to come around. So you don't get overburdened with tag stuff because it's it takes so long to get back to that genre.
True.
These guys know each other well. Brian fell under, Swerve's deal, right? Mogul Embassy, part of the Mogul Embassy, and I mean they were a great unit, a very feared unit here in AEW. I think Brian Cage, Bishop Corleone, maybe in their words, Tony saying that they felt used by Swerve. I think maybe they were jealous of Swerve.
Barbed wire steel cage match. Did JBL and Big Show have a barbed wire steel cage match? I don't remember that.
I believe so. I just don't remember when it was.
Let me see.
I don't think it was barbed wire, but I know they had a steel cage match. It may have been an ECW thing. I don't know, but I know they did have a cage match at some point.
They did. Maybe it was at ECW One Night Stands. Yeah, they did actually. They did actually. It was first time I'm hearing about it.
That's what I'm saying. I knew they had a cage match. I didn't know if it was barbed wire and stuff like that, but I knew they had a cage match.
Yeah, they had a barbed wire. Well, at least that's what this title says. I'm fixing to actually see it.
Okay, so here's a possible hot take. I don't know if you guys agree with this. When I think all cage matches should have barbed wire on the top of the cage, so you can't escape.
I actually like
why do you have a cage if you can just walk out?
What's the point of it?
Doesn't make any. Yeah, dude, that's the whole point. Is no one can get in and no one can get out. The heel who normally runs away is trapped, and now the babyface has a chance to get him. The whole idea of getting over the cage is silly.
See, my thing is, I've always thought that in cage match you should always end it inside the cage. It should be it should go to a pinfall in the cage.
So philosophically, I have no problem with people throwing things through the cage. I know it's the whole point of the cage is to keep people from interfering. It's wrestling, whatever. If someone throws if Sensational Sherry throws her heel through the cage,
right,
and Macho Man hits it, I'm fine with that. But keep it in the cage. Don't ruin the cage itself.
Right.
Because in that moment, it's the heel's fault. The heel was cheating. It's not the gimmick that you're kind of ruining. I hate Hell in a Cell matches that as soon as they start, they're outside of the Hell in a Cell.
What's the point of the cell then?
Because you want to climb up to the top, but we all see it coming.
Right.
Just stay in the cell. Just have a good match in the cell.
And they're never going to do it as good as Undertaker and Mick Foley, so why even go up there?
And you're only going to
potentially
hurt yourself. Not everyone is Shane McMahon. Don't do that stuff. Don't do that.
Like the best Hell in a Cell matches are really, for me at least, Undertaker, Mick Foley, Triple H, Mick Foley. A lot of them involve Mick Foley.
And look how Mick Foley walked for a few years. Like, hey, I'm all for punk rock music. If you want to be a punk rock artist, but just be careful because
Foley
the
made that sacrifice
lifespans we
for
know
us.
aren't the longest.
I feel like in some of the cage matches, like you want to use, especially like Hell in a Cell, like you want to use the cage part because at least like hit your opponent on the cage, or you want to use it in some.
New Day versus Usos had a good one. They were in a
that was
cage
good.
and they had kendo sticks, and they got one of the guys to stand in the corner with his arms
Yeah, they
down,
tied him up.
and they put kendo sticks through the fence so he couldn't move his hands and legs. That's brilliant.
It was. They
so
tied him up. They had him
good.
pinned. Actually, yeah, it was
It's
pretty
in the
good.
cage. It didn't have to go outside. It's logical. Everything makes sense.
And you never seen that before. That was one I've never seen that before. I thought that was
and
brilliant.
you might never see it ever again. You know what I mean? Some
Right.
people just have that creativity.
I feel like in Hell in a Cell, like as long as you're in the cell, you shouldn't be unless you're going for a real. Not many people can do what Shane McMahon did these days. Like that.
And if you're going to Shane McMahon yourself, save it for Mania. Save it for
save it for. You just don't do it. Which you should. Tony should take lessons to that. You don't do it to do it.
Don't do it.
I mean, as much as AEW fans hate on the WWE, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, AEW can take a couple of pages from the WWE's playbook. I mean, it's not gonna hurt.
I don't if anybody got me wrong, I don't hate WWE. Well, I'm not one of those guys, but it's I'm just not a big fan of that style. But yeah, their production, how they produce stuff, a lot of that stuff is brilliant, and AEW can definitely learn a bit.
I really like ever since Kevin Dunn's been gone, Triple H has turned that, the camera cuts, especially they'll go to a segment from the back, then they'll follow the wrestler into the entranceway, into the match, or like Sami Zayn's entrance.
That was good.
But they have the really good cameras, and they have really cool stuff. Remember when AEW started and there was terrible audio quality, and everyone's like, "How do you mess up audio?"
Yeah, it was about a week or two ago that you couldn't hear the entire. Well, you could hear it, but it was very, very. I don't know, muffly.
Yeah, it's not as fine-tuned of an engine as WWE is, but you have 20, 30 years to catch up on an evolution of a company.
Well, normally it's pretty good, but they were at Daly's place. Normally they have pretty good audio at Daly's place. They would see it during the pandemic. And
see, I heard that the AEW doesn't call it the gorilla position, and if that's true, I'm going to be very upset.
Smart position.
I don't care who you are. That's the gorilla position. That man was in wrestling long enough to deserve those. I don't know. I'm a sucker for throwbacks to historical stuff. So even if he's not even your company, just call it gorilla, because everyone loved Gorilla Monsoon.
Everybody calls it that, really.
Everyone calls it that.
Yeah. TNA.
And it's Gorilla Monsoon. It's not like Pat Patterson where there's a story. It's everyone goes, yeah, Gorilla. Yeah, everyone loves Gorilla.
I wonder where Chris is at. He said he was going to be on. Me see
where has he been?
See if anything happened in the world of Chris. There were some stipulations on Copeland loses yes to the knee and one House of Black. That could be interesting. But if Malachi loses, just let him leave. Please, just let him leave. I want to see him back in WWE, anyways. I feel like if they did if the House of Black House of Black and Judgment Day would be probably pretty good. Just for the simple fact that Buddy Matthews is in the House of Black and his wife Rhea Ripley is in the Judgment Day.
I'm gonna make the controversial statement, and I say if House of Black leaves AEW as a unit, they should do an indie run as a unit. I think, you know what I mean? If more Nick Nemeth is doing it, Matt Cardona did it, if more guys do it, it adds more to the indies. It lets some of those companies grow a bit more.
They would probably go to WWE.
Oh, I'm not saying they're not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I would love it if, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the indies would kill for Malachi Black to show up and do all his spots. Fans would go nuts.
I remember in PWG, he used to do a lot of that.
Yeah.
Like, he's such a good creative mind, but it's like, I don't want to say he's a lot like Bray Wyatt, because I feel like they're very creative, but it doesn't always translate to wrestling. If that means
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Bray Wyatt in that documentary. I don't know if anyone's seen it, but some of the stuff that he wanted to do, like how do you fit that into a wrestling show?
Well, that's what I heard. That's what the quote was from Triple H, where he said about Bray Wyatt, where he goes, "Look, he's extremely creative, but not all of those ideas fit into the context of professional wrestling." Like,
Yeah.
what
Like,
was
that's
the fun house he was doing? Like, that was creative. It was different, but part of me is like, how is this professional wrestling? Like,
I think like during the pandemic, it worked because you're trying to do anything.
no, I totally get that. Yeah.
Sports entertainment.
But
Get it
there
right.
is certain elements where you go, how did we get here?
Yeah.
What is happening right now?
I think Bray would have been a perfect producer for horror films or
Yeah.
Going back to what I said earlier,
was-
give Bray Wyatt a 60, 70-minute horror movie and just let him go nutty.
he'd been
Like
able
they
to.
did. Yeah.
Then, once the movie comes out, pick and choose things you like from the movie, introduce them to the wrestling show, you're off to the races.
Bray Wyatt's Malachi's very creative to a certain extent, like Bray. We haven't really we've seen some stuff, but I remember hearing Malachi in an interview that he has this full, I don't know what it's some kind of book he has, and everything in the book he plans that he uses for a story.
Every name he writes in it, that person dies. Is that the book you're talking about?
I don't know. What
That's the wrong book.
Oh, sorry. When I thought Malachi Black had a book, I only want the one thing.
I heard it in an interview. It was a few years ago. It was like when he first came to AEW. He said that he has a book that, like the story of Buddy joining the story of Brody, and then there's so many twists and turns he wanted to go. Obviously, that hasn't happened, but
I think he treats it a bit like some people treat their kind of D&D worlds. Like, that might sound bad, but some people are like, I have 14-page history of this character that you're going to talk to once. But that's good writing, because that's like Tolkien, right? Like, not everything you're going to like in Tolkien's world, but there's going to be that one story that you do like because it just everything kind of fits.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think if Malachi doesn't win, just I don't know what else you can do. Like, you then bury the entire group.
You make the House of Black bigger. You make them more of an invading force. Like, they're not invading like NWO's invading, like like something else coming in. They're invading like a cancer
from within.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not the best choice of words, but if he keeps spraying the mist on people and they keep joining him, and now he's got like 11 people under his kind of watch, then you can treat it as this sort of huge threat.
Like, the only person I could see joining is Pac. He's the only.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's the only one that fits that type of.
I think you could stretch it a bit more, because there's a few people that like are baby faces, but as soon as you let them go heel, they have all this character. Like Blake Christian right now, he was always Blandy McBland face to me because his name is a bit bland, but his heel work right now is actually really good.
Yeah.
So it's like you could take a couple of those Ring of Honor guys that are almost no one. Give them two or three of these kind of lower card guys.
I think that's when Malachi. I don't know.
Well, that's what Julia Hart was, right? She was a lower card girl, and she's kind of coming up a little bit now that they have this essence to her.
Great example. Yeah.
I just don't think
fantastic makeup.
Yeah, he really picks. But then again, like Malachi has been signed since 2021. We're in 2024, and what has he done really? He has done.
I don't think it's that hard to just say, you know what, Kyle Fletcher, you're going to turn on United Empire, and now you're going to.
Like,
that's a bad example, but yeah.
They gotta let them do something. Like, they've done the trios thing. I mean, at a certain point, you can't just be doing the same stuff over and over and over and over.
Yeah, they need more of a story.
But As I said, if there's no plans, please, I want to see him in WWE. I want to see Malachi. And like, there's so many matches in WWE that they could do.
Yeah.
And especially since Triple H is in creative, he's kind of a Triple H guy as he was in the Black and Gold NXT. It would be possible to get a true main roster character out of Malachi. Because I always liked his entrance in NXT.
And how is it like? Is WWE? I haven't watched it in a while, but are they looking for their like new Undertaker? Is that sort of the plan with Bray Wyatt? As they have this new demonic, scary character?
I guess that's the next kind of Undertaker-ish, Bray Wyatt-ish type.
So I remember Finn Balor had the demon, like that sort of played up that kind of gimmick. Like
But
spooky, over the top, long entrance, gimmick heavy.
But I really don't want to see Malachi leave because I like AEW and I want him to win the title there. But
yeah, they definitely need something to help stand out.
But if they're not going to do anything with them, then I mean, eventually, I think Malachi will be back in WWE eventually. I can just because his wife's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not really just because of his wife.
And I could definitely see WWE saying, "Yeah, I don't really know if I want Brody." Because I think Brody's a bit older. You know, he's a bigger dude. I don't know if they would see the same
be a package deal
thing. Yeah. If they went into it like Friends, like the show Friends.
I know Buddy probably would go, but I don't know about.
That'd be dope, though. If wrestlers started doing like, what do they call it, negotiating as a group?
Yeah, like they're pretty tight as a group. Like they don't just hang out for wrestling. Like they do.
And technically, that's the gimmick. If you buy one person, you're ruining the gimmick. You can't have the '96 American Dream Team and just hire Michael Jordan. You're like, no, we need all the other people to make it magic.
I agree. You can't get the free. You can't get the free bird and just get Michael Hayes.
I would take any other free bird but Michael Hayes.
Dude.
I used to.
He said what in the interview? What?
Like every documentary of WWE I would watch like as a kid, he was always in it, always.
He's one of those. Yeah, he's like a Pat Patterson where he's like WWE for life, but he's also had a few stories of like, let's just say some less than favorable language has come out of him.
Oh yeah,
I know.
He almost pissed on Vince McMahon's wife. Yeah. Anybody remember that?
Oh my God, no.
I didn't know it, but I don't want to know it now.
You attacked him at his gym at his home, right down the street here in Everett, Washington last year.
Washington?
You embarrassed my son, and now I'm forced to embarrass you.
Is he going to rip up the picture?
Do you think your daughter is proud? Maybe we should ask her, Swerve, huh? Are you proud of your absentee mother?
Damn. All right. Don't mess with the kiddies now. Don't mess with a man's kids.
Gus will train to be a wrestler, and in 10, 15 years, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, there goes a piece of memorabilia right there.
In 2 weeks, yep. Nothing. I take your world heavyweight.
That's going to be on eBay in about 2 hours.
If AEW ever has their own, like, if they ever do a fan fest again, there's another thing for the. Well, they did it a few times. Like they would have like a memorabilia section, kind of like how WWE does. But like with all the AEW memorabilia, so like Brody Lee's jacket, the dog collar from Cody and Brody.
They do a lot of canvases from shows, so it's like you could buy a chunk of a canvas from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm not big on that one, but I get the idea of it, you know.
Actually, I have a plaque from WWE, and they put like a piece of the ring, on the plaque or whatever.
That's cool.
See, that sounds cool, but when it's like this big and it's perfectly clean, you're like, can I have the chunk where it's like it's got blood stains on it or sweat stains? The mat at my gym is stained from sweat. Like there's sodium or whatever in your sweat.
I wonder how they even do that.
Pouring sweat. You can see the stains on the mat.
I wonder how they even do that because like they're not big pieces and the ring's pretty big. So and this is interesting because the product that the event's from is Survivor Series, War Games. So what
So
size?
you have two mats.
Yeah, so you're just cutting up every little piece of the ring.
And the mat. Okay, so the
time.
mat. I think WWE mats are like 20 by 20, 15 by 50. They're massive.
Yeah,
and then they have a little bit of overhang on each side so you can tie them tight. And then you have two because it's from War Games. You can cut one mat into 1,000 pieces easily. $100 each. Oh, ship it off.
Actually,
that's money.
I would.
That's how you make money. These big companies, man.
I would take it down, but I don't know if I'll be able to get it back up just because I have so much stuff and it's all the way.
Oh, it's a load-bearing plaque.
I have so much wrestling stuff that it's all.
Take the plaque out the wall. The whole house starts to shake a little bit. You put it right back on real quick.
Like if
Make sure no avalanche.
I have so much stuff.
Leave it right there.
I have so much wrestling memorabilia and stuff that if one thing falls, the whole thing could fall.
I know what you mean.
Like my room is basically a museum of wrestling at this point. I'm fixing to be moving though. Actually, I'm going to be. I don't know if I'll get rid of some stuff, but rearrange some stuff to where it's not like that. Like sometimes, like I used to like every time once a year, like rearrange my room, so put new stuff up. And take some
Someone doesn't have ADHD once a year, dude.
No.
Once every 3 months, I'm like, move the bed out of there and let's put the desk in here.
I'm kind of the same way as Connor. I only rearrange my stuff like probably once or twice a year.
Oh, dude, I'm all the time like feng shui. Like, how do I make this better? How do I tweak this? How do I turn this here and turn that there? And
I'm really gonna dread take it all. I'm fixing to be moving, so I'm gonna be taking all that stuff down. I have to put it all back up.
It's always at 3 a.m.
Well,
your family walks in, you're like desk in hand. It's 3 a.m, and you're just in your underwear, and you're like, "What's up?" They're like, what are you doing? I'm just moving my desk, you know.
For me, like I'm either on a ladder, putting stuff up all the way up.
I only have the bell clip there.
It is ridiculous. But when I move, I plan on putting specific stuff out.
Ooh, we should have a contest. I think this could be. You ever see the show Taskmaster? It's a like English comedy show. Anyway, they have a thing where everyone brings in one item and they have a theme for the round. So we could say everyone bring in one item that's wrestling related that's like important to you or you think is important or whatever, and we can see how many different variations of things. Like some people might have a real belt, some people might have an autograph, some people might have an old tape, some people might have, you know what I mean, like a scar. It's like it might be cool to see all the different things that all the different cast members have, whatever you want to call our little network
here. A
here.
lot of episodes of that on here, over 100 probably. I feel like I have too much wrestling stuff at this point.
There's always more to talk about.
Which I did get rid of some stuff that I regret getting rid of 2 years ago.
I still have an old VHS tape that my family said, you watch this millions and millions and millions of times. And I look at it and I'm like, I've never watched this ever. It's like, it's a Hulk Hogan tape, like a VHS tape in the cardboard sleeve. And it's like a series of matches, him versus Bob Backlund, him versus the Iron Sheik. I think it's like Nikolai Volkov. And it's like, what the hell? And you look at the tape and it's like 84. And it's like, I wasn't even born then. What are you But apparently when I was a wee little lad, you know, in a high chair or whatever, you know how kids will only watch one thing?
Right.
Like I'm not watching anything but Bluey. If put on Bluey, I'm gonna flip out.
That's the way I am.
Apparently, if it was Hulk Hogan, if I didn't watch Hulk Hogan, I'm gonna flip out, dude.
Like that's how I was as a kid. Like I was in Star Wars, and that was it.
Some kids are like that, right? It's just how they grow up.
I got into What else did I get into? Star Wars was the main thing. I was Star Wars, and I was at lightsabers, movies, VHSs. I got into wrestling, everything but wrestling. I got out of wrestling into basketball, everything basketball. Back into wrestling, everything wrestling. But now it's kind of changed as I've gotten older because I've gotten into some other stuff. Like I watch hockey, I watch wrestling, basketball, I like Marvel stuff. I've gotten into a lot of different stuff. So
see, I'm like, I would love to have that in my life right now
with
because
wrestling wise, I normally like one promotion and that's it. And it's getting to that point again. I don't know which way it's going, but
well, maybe I can introduce you to a couple more. I hear GCW is doing really good. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on that. I only know about Bloodsport and like Joey Janela's Spring Break, but other than that, I don't know much about their.
Shout out to all my juggalos and juggalettes out there.
But New Japan Best of the Super Juniors is on now, and I love those tournaments because it's all the little guys with all their flippy doos, right? So. Yeah, my life right now is like Monday wrestling, Tuesday wrestling, Wednesday day off. I'm using it to talk to you guys about wrestling. Tomorrow wrestling, Friday probably relax a little bit and watch more wrestling.
If you're really 100% committed, that's what you want to do. That's what you have to do.
And then it's like we have another community off to the side where if you guys like wrestling and you guys like social games like fantasy drafts and stuff, I do, we do that stuff too. So it's like we got to go full blast. I've only just started like the Paul Rogers wrestling. So if you guys check that and there's not much on it, then please understand that. But yeah, you got to go hard.
Also, I'm in an AEW fantasy league and the matchup being predictable sucks because the ones I got, I know I have Will Ospreay and Roderick Strong. That's a big loss for me because one of them is going to be losing for nothing.
Yeah.
I got Malachi and I got Adam Copeland. Well, I got Tony Storm. I got Serena D.
How many guys do you get on your team for your league?
We got 12.
12. That's big. Okay.
But I traded two people. I did have Kip Sabian and Anna Jay, but I traded them. There's a certain points we have where we can trade for.
Yeah. Are you doing dropthebelt.com?
He's the guy is on Twitter. It's AEW Metrics. He does like a lot of stats and stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, send me the info or whatever. Because our league, we just didn't have enough people. Like when there's only like 6 or 7, it's hard to keep going, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we can combine and do sort of one bigger.
In this league, like there's like 100 people or 50 people in this damn league.
Oh, it's one of those. Okay, yeah. See, I like smaller leagues where if it's just the AEZ crew, everything's a bit more focused when it comes to the story of how everyone's doing.
I would share this, but I don't know if everyone wants their information leaked out, but there's a good chunk of people in the league.
Yeah, why not throw it out there?
My own searching.
I'm not gonna, because there's a lot of usernames, and see, I can't get in the group chat because either I have someone blocked or someone's blocked me, so I can't be put in the group chat.
Oh, gotcha.
But it's okay with me. Whoever I blocked is for a good reason, or if they blocked me, I don't care. But I got trade them two, and I got Chris Statlander and Trent. So I thought Trent, he's a heel now. He'll probably be getting some wins. And Chris Statlander, she's normally in tag action on Rampage. Or he's collision, and she gets some wins here now and then. And then the moment that I get Trent, they just have him lose all the time.
That's how it works, man.
What a waste! What a waste of a spot I did. Actually,
I think in the one I have one guy. We're like 3 or 4 days into the WWE one, and one guy's got like 12 points, and the highest score is like 200. You're like, oh no, dude!
I can
disastrous.
Yeah, I have. See, we were allowed to get a certain amount of champions, and my champions were Tony Storm, Roderick Strong, Julia Hart, Adam Copeland. Julia Hart's not a champion anymore, obviously. Which I still do have rules
Oh,
changed.
I see. Yeah, those. Okay, so yeah, your rules are a bit different because we just have like a full pool. So it's
Yeah.
like you have to hopefully get a champion depending on your block and all that.
Yeah, I got Tony Storm, Roderick Strong, Julia Hart, Jay White, Will Ospreay, Adam Copeland, Thunder Rosa, Dax Harwood, Jericho, D, Malachi,
How
Pac,
about
O'Reilly,
this
Statlander.
might be something we can make a full episode on, elaborate on all these different games that we have that different
bad
listeners can kind of play if they like these different ones. Because we do a game called Last Man Standing, where over a series of weeks, you're going to pick someone on the card, and if they lose, you're eliminated. But if you pick someone who wins, you go on, and you keep going. And the idea is you can't pick the same person twice. So let's say you say, I'm going to pick Edge to win this week, and he wins next week. You can't say, well, Edge is going to win again. You have to pick a different person and
Okay, I
see
see.
how long you can go without like picking right and without picking the same person twice.
I like that.
There's a lot of these little games. We could turn a whole like hour into elaborating on it.
So far tonight, the only person that's wrestling tonight, well, Dax Harwood wrestling. He's going to lose. I already know that.
Yeah, it's
Tony
we do it
Storm.
more for New Japan because we find their outcomes are a bit more random. It's not so telegraphed.
So
When
Tony
you have a
Storm,
5-on-5 match, it's like it could go either way, you know. Like
Tony Storm's going to win this. So I got one win, I got one loss.
Hmm.
And a lot of these people aren't wrestling tonight. I probably, which I'm going to try to make another trade because there's another trade coming up. I guess fixing to end. I want to get Deonna Purrazzo because she's been used a little bit more recently. And I'm probably going to drop Julia Hart because she's not used right now and she won't be for a while. Because
Right.
she's injured, obviously. I don't even pick my favorites in that because all my favorites don't win. So it's not about picking your favorites; it's about picking who's going to win. So how's this match went on this long?
Hey, they're getting some good time on it. Longer, it's less than long as I thought it would, honestly.
Tony's just dominated. I mean, she's
Well,
probably Tamer's
continuing on the wrestling games, I actually played a game of Dungeons and Dragons that was wrestling. Like I go to do a move, roll. You got a 0. Okay, you fail. This person does this move, roll. And it actually was pretty fun because it takes 5 minutes and it's a little bit of yes, no. And I was like, this is actually pretty good.
That sounds fun.
So it's like, let's say you go to do a move, you roll. If you roll higher than I roll, okay, you do it. If I roll higher than you, I reverse it. And you can have a little bit of fun with that.
Oh, so it's the same rules, just put to wrestling.
Yeah, and just elaborated on a bit more. I have seen also more card games now. I haven't played them, but I see them on ads. And I like the idea of like a Magic the Gathering where you have your hero, but instead of a hero, it's a wrestler, and now you have these cards that are like plus like a kick or a punch or a DDT. Yeah. Like it might not work, but I always like that idea.
I like the sound of that idea, actually.
And
like
if they make battle games out of a wrestling theme, actually, that if you look on board Tabletop Simulator, the WCW card game is there, the WWE card game is there. There's a lot of stuff, so that might be something we could take advantage of.
Oh, speaking of WCW, I was watching a Nitro. You know they had the hotline. Actually called it to see if someone would pick up, and someone picked up. It was it's for something else now. And I said, "Is this the WCW hotline?"
They're like, "No, it's
900-909-9900. That number is burned into my brain.
How do we highlight a comment? We can.
And then I said, "I'm here to talk to Randy Savage. Me and Gene Okerlund just said on my TV that if I call this number, it'd be 90 cents an hour. I could talk to Macho Man Randy Savage." And then I just hung up. He just hung up.
I was actually one of those kids that called that number when I was young. And
Oh, I got in trouble for calling it too. It was expensive.
I got in big trouble. I got in big trouble.
Yeah,
But whenever I call it, it's kind of like a little wrestling game. Like you can it's like a little match within like the call, and like you have like number one will be like the stun gun. Number two will be the suplex. Number three.
Oh, it's like a choose your old adventure, but with
yeah, that's what it was. It's actually pretty fun. But I got in so much trouble after the call. I swear.
Oh, those are so expensive.
Oh yeah, that's how they get you.
Hardest thing you have ever said.
Oh, Wardlow's on TV. He looks miserable. I'm not gonna lie.
He's like in the shadows, way in the back.
You're such an idiot out of the ring.
He doesn't really belong in this group. This is
He does kind of
not.
look a little off.
This is not what he should be doing. And he probably like they had so many start and stop.
He's like, whatever, bro.
Which
I'm
is
cool
like
with
they
it, bro.
pushed him to TNT title. He had a really huge momentum. He was their Goldberg, really. I mean, remember those chants and all that?
Yeah.
And then he wins it, and loses it, then wins it, and loses it, and wins it again, and loses it. And then he's gone for a while. Has a feud with Joe. That's over. Comes back again. Undisputed Kingdom. Loses against Joe again. Then he's out again.
Jeez.
I don't know what they're. I mean, it's not that hard. Just have a thought out plan and stick with it.
Right. I gotta say this: is it me or is it annoying to see Wardlow as like a henchman in the background? It's just annoying.
Yeah, it really is, and like he's not speaking at all.
Like we've already seen that too with MJF. Like,
and wasn't he in another faction where he was wasted in it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is gonna be I'm gonna stick up for something that American wrestling fans kind of hate. Factions, okay? American wrestling don't know how to do factions because it's always like you get these guys in a faction, but one of them has to be a guy in the back that says nothing. Yeah. It's like, but that's not how United Empire works. That's not how these other bigger factions like Bullet Club work. Like, it's a bit more spread out. Everyone has their sort of job.
I just feel like with Wardlow, like they're redoing a story that they've already done.
Yeah.
And why is he in the okay? It's like we might be specific nitpicks, but like he should be front and center. Like the heel should be hiding behind his muscle. Like it might be nitpicky, whatever. But
no, I get it. Yeah.
I just see him in the background, and I'm like, "What's going on, man? Like you should be front and center."
Like he doesn't even need to be in this. Like, and I can already like Adam Cole had that look on his face that
You know what? Wardlow for United Empire. There, I said it. I said it. Let's go. Let's fucking rev it up, baby. I think that might fit, though, because United Empire is a little bit more of an athletic, sporty type of faction.
Yeah.
You let Jeff Cobb have a partner who's just as big as him, and he's just...
Nobody's in.
That'd be a great tag team to have tag team gold. 2 massive heels, and they just beat the crap out of everyone.
I think I don't know what left there is. I mean, there's lots of Wardlow to do, but I don't know what AEW, what their plans are for him, really. Like
that's hard. That's up in the air, man.
I feel like what they're going to do is Adam Cole's going to turn on him. When MJF comes back, it'll be MJF and Wardlow teaming up, which I don't want to see. But
I don't know. I think Wardlow has a little bit of a glass ceiling. Like he's not going to be like the guy. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing to say he can't be like. What's a good analogy? Jake the Snake. He never had championship gold, but he was always really high on the card. He was always well protected. Like just run a character like that.
I think Wardlow. He reminds me a lot of Batista. For a while,
that's not the worst comparison.
He was always at first he was always a big guy that didn't really talk. He was with Evolution.
See, I never saw Batista as like a credible world champion. Like that's just my interpretation, but yeah, I definitely see the comparison.
Like he couldn't talk, he didn't talk. He was just with Triple H, Ric Flair, and
just
then
want give me what I
eventually he
want.
broke through, and then he became a really big star. I think.
And then he
Well,
wore blue gear, and no one ever let him live that down.
Yeah, and then a lot of people's not gonna like this, but I think if Triple H was able to get Wardlow, he would see Batista in him, and they'd make him one of the top stars in WWE because he's got the look,
Yeah.
he's got everything that it takes to be a world champion, and he has improved on the mic a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember, but those promos before Revolution, he actually did pretty good.
Yeah, they weren't bad. I agree.
He just needs a direction.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Oh, well, it's probably like that on TV. That fan was
Actually, here's an idea where it's like, let's say Wardlow, AEW is going to let him go on excursion. So certain companies, they'll take their guys that are learning and they'll let them go to another company for a couple years and come back. Okada did it in TNA. Recently, Yuya Uemura did it in TNA. Let's say if you could send Wardlow to almost any smaller company, would you send him overseas? Would you send him to TNA? Like, give him something to do somewhere else for a little bit, bring him back.
Yeah.
Because you could send him to England for a bit. He's a big dude. He can just smash people for a bit, give him a bit of a, like, oh, did you hear what he's doing over blah, 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 and then bring him back.
Right.
I think at the stage of Wardlow's career, he's 36. So he's not going to want to wait too much longer to get. So going to WWE, I feel like would be the.
I guess it depends on what he wants to be, because if he wants to stay this big, yeah, he's not going to have that much time left. But if he learns to adapt, he could wrestle into his 40s.
Well, he could. I think just at this stage, if he wants to be a true main event world champion, I think WWE would be the place. Just because they book. I can just see Triple H. I can see it.
Well, it's the land of the giants. Like, they love big guys. Would not take Wardlow.
Well, that was actually a tryout in 2016.
Yeah.
Wardlow had. But now Wardlow's established himself a little bit.
Hey, and that's when the old man was still there. So
okay, so this is when people don't get their like when they lose at the tryouts. That's not a bad choice of words. When people don't get accepted in their tryouts, don't look at that as a failure, because it's a 1 in a million chance that you're going to succeed anyway. And there's famous stories of Hiromu Takahashi failed the New Japan Dojo 3 times. And only on his 4th time did someone go, you know what? I think there's something to this guy. So it's like, if WWE said no once, don't take that too heavily that they're going to say no again, right? They might look at him and go, yes, please, yes, of course.
He's established himself in AEW. Like, he's established that he has what it takes. Like, in 2021, 2020.
And it wouldn't hurt WWE doing couple more of these talent deals, you know, like, ooh, we got this guy back.
It was in 2022 when Wardlow had the entire crowd in the palm of his hands. He had the Goldberg, not the wrestling style, but the crowd chants, the entrance.
Yeah, that essence. They followed him from the locker room up through Gorilla, through the. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's all Goldberg gimmick. It's great stuff.
Like, he has it, but at that time he didn't really have what he has now. He has the wrestling experience. He's exposed to TV. So I think who was it? It was I forget who it was. There was someone that they're back now, but they were horrible and they went to WWE. And then I wouldn't say horrible, but they just weren't. They were looking for it, and they got released, and they came back and they became a multi-time champion.
I got caught in this conversation in Reddit because someone said, "Oh, this is the." Oh, if I could count how many times people have done that, left WWE, gone to left WWE, gone to a different company, got a name, went back to WWE, and I was highlighted. I was like, Well, if you stretch what you're saying, that sounds like Austin and Foley.
Yeah.
It sounds like Eddie Guerrero. That sounds like everyone ever.
Big Show.
Vader did that.
He,
Vader was in WCW, wasn't doing too good. He went to Japan, was a megastar. WWE went, we got to grab this guy. He's a megastar. Like, so many people have done that. I think it's a bit naive to think it might be more of a modern trend.
Yeah.
Brian Pillman.
That's a really good example. Damn, that's a really good example right there. Hell yeah.
Because he quit WCW, went to ECW, had a bunch of real kick-ass promos, and then got hired WWE and started going into feuds with Stone Cold. Like,
yeah. I mean, this is a guy who was at the time was the talk of every single major promotion.
And that's a 30-year-old example. I'm sure we could come up with more.
That's probably the best one of all time.
Yeah.
Probably. He was in WCW. The highest they booked him was the 4 Horsemen. I want to say
Booker Man.
Yeah,
with Kevin Sullivan. Like, it's a good role, but he's a young guy. Like, not every company knows the correct time to go, okay, he's young, yes, but we have to pull the trigger on him right now.
Yeah.
The fans are rabid. We can't.
That's what WCW was doing. It was playing.
And the best part, you want to know the best part about that story? That was late in his stage in his career. If you go back even further, there's like early Brian Pillman where he's a young man, he's wearing trunks and he's flying around.
Brian.
It's like, what the hell? Early 80s and you're going like.
Yeah, like in WCW, he was he had a lot of good matches. We used to do a lot of those reactions. I remember it was Brian Pillman and Chris Benoit.
Now that I think about
that
it,
was a great match.
We could also find the opposite of examples of this. What's an example of someone who is like main event in WWE, or maybe not main event, but high level, and they went to another company and they just bombed completely?
Alberto.
Let me think of that one.
IRS. IRS had a pretty good run, and then he went to WCW and he was something else, and it's like it didn't click. The $1 Million Man. There's a few examples.
Alberto Del Rio is probably he was the world champion then.
Like Jake the Snake, he went WCW, WWE a couple times and stayed high level. It's like, okay, fair enough.
Earthquake, he's a good example. Earthquake, he was big in WWE and then he went to WCW and they made him the Shark.
He was the Shark. You know what?
He was
okay.
Really...
I'm gonna defend one thing about the Shark. You ready?
Oh boy.
So his shirt had the top of a mouth of a shark, and his pants had the bottom of a mouth of a shark. So as he wrestled, the mouth would open and he would pull up his shorts, pull up his trunks, and it looked like the mouth closed. As a kid, I was like, this is the greatest gimmick I've ever seen in my life. It looks like the shark is chewing. Like, I'm not big on hokey stuff, but when that just fits perfectly for the tone, you're like, all right, I'm into it. But yeah, he was Earthquake, and then he came back to WWE as Golga, where he wore a mask and he was a Cartman fan. So yeah, there's a few good examples of like just lower down the card.
Ahmed Johnson was good. Like he was really bigger in WWE, Intercontinental Champion. He was actually the first to sign Yokozuna, not Lex Luger. But I don't want you to know that. What a reason. Then he went to WCW, and then it was.
So what, Oliver Boons? Can you highlight that comment? What happened to Earthquake? Yeah, we just did the quick recap where he was Earthquake.
We talked about the Shark, not Earthquake.
Yeah, he was Earthquake, and then I believe he left. This is the short form story. He went to WCW. He was in the Dungeon of Doom. He was the Shark. I can't remember if they did something else with him before he left. And then when he went back to WWE, he actually had lost a lot of weight. So Vince was like, we can't have you as Earthquake because you're significantly smaller. Yeah. He's still a massive human being, but, you know, his belly's not so big. So they put the mask on him, and he was Golga in the Attitude Era. I forget the name of the group off the top. There you go. With Kerrigan and ICP. Yeah, like And then I
Yes.
believe after that he quietly retired because he was still like in his 40s, 50s. But okay,
Mhm.
Earthquake, legit Yokozuna. If there was a
he was
list
Yokozuna.
there's a list of people in wrestling you do not want to fight, Earthquake is very high on that list.
Yeah, Tenta, he was a badass for real. He was
Him
legit.
and Haku, like top
Yes.
of the list. If you want a fun side story, there's an Earthquake John Tenta shoot match where his opponent decides says wrestling's fake and decides to start hitting John Tenta.
Tries to poke his eyes out.
After about 30 seconds, he realizes it's a bad idea and he's running away of John Tenta.
Yeah.
Like, oh
He's
shit!
I saw that. I remember
he's
that.
like, yo, shit, you're tough. Okay, I'm gonna bail.
Because I remember that. He was trying to poke his eyes out at first. He was trying to poke him out. And then John was like, we ain't going there.
It's like a couple open hand slaps and there's no reaction. You're like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
John Tenta is like legit.
Like Lex Luger. It reminded me of Lex Luger whenever he ran away from Bruiser Brody.
Brody, yeah.
I'm done. I'm done.
I honestly love that spot where it's like the heel's like, you know what? I can do this. Bam, hits him once and there's no reaction from the face. Right. He's like, I can't do this. He immediately runs.
I'm going home.
No, if my one punch didn't make him hurt at all, there's nothing I can do. I should steal that spot for my own matches. Write these ideas down.
Right? Gotta jot those down in the journal.
Oh, I got a Google Keep. Yeah. I write a lot of stuff down. Even though you forget that you wrote it down and then like a year later you go, oh, there's some great stuff in here. What is this?
I've done that so many times. Title was on the line. All right.
I was going to say, I looked it up, and Earthquake died in 2006.
Yeah, I believe he had cancer, I think. I could be off.
Can you in your sleep there, little missy?
I looked up a picture of him, and you wouldn't recognize him at all.
Yeah, towards his later days, yeah.
Yeah, he lost a lot of weight.
Yeah, it was probably hard for him to keep the weight on, or like people that are that big naturally, they woulda, shoulda, coulda, like keep the weight off, and it helps their heart a bit.
I remember watching. I was watching. What was it? The Dark Side of the Ring. There was an episode about Earthquake, and him and Tugboat. They're talking about how him and Tugboat would eat just large amounts of food in hotel rooms. I mean, to the point to where like they had like plates of it.
And they had like those guys had big bellies, but they were legitimately big men. There's a difference between a skinny 6'3" putting on weight and someone who has a natural frame of a bear.
Yeah.
Like Brock. Like even if Brock didn't work out, he'd still be wide because it's just the way that his body is shaped.
Country boy.
Yeah, like I'm 180, I'm 190, but I still have wide shoulders and kind of thick ribs. You know what I mean? It's just the way some people are built.
Like down here, they call that cornbread fed.
Like I'm technically a light heavyweight, but I have the body frame of a heavyweight wrestler, if that makes sense, right? You get the broad shoulders and you get that heavy frame, but I could probably get down to 170 if I lost all the belly fat. You know what I mean? Which is crazy to say when you're 190. But hey, on the topic of John Tenta, don't be afraid to call your doctor and ask for a heart scan. Exactly. They put a couple things on your chest. They sit there for a minute. They record a couple beeps and boops. And now your doctor has something to look forward to in a few years.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, you can learn from Tenta's story. I mean, you got to catch that early.
Never be afraid to, hey, there's a lot of stories in wrestling of people who never got checked up. They never, who was Mr. Wonderful? Do you remember that story?
Yeah.
Paul Orndorff, he had a problem with his arm, but he didn't want to take
He
time
never
off.
checked it out. Yeah.
Yo, get it checked out, guys. Like, we've had too many stories of wrestlers dying. We don't want you guys doing too, right? Yeah, who is
Johnny
it?
says,
Johnny.
Johnny says
Go
it's
for
still
it.
shocking that Okada is not in New Japan. I agree. I mean,
It's
it's
so
pretty
weird.
shocking. It's pretty it's different to see him on American television because I think the enormous amount of American fans have no idea.
I think
who
it's
he
an
is, you know?
equivalent between John Cena showing up on AEW.
Oh,
Like,
they
I
would
know it's
hate
not
that.
the
Oh my
same
god.
relationship, but to me, it feels equally as like big.
I feel like if John Cena was to step foot in there, there would be a sea of boos. I feel like nobody would like that as far as AEW fans.
You know what? I think a little bit, yes, but I think general wrestling fans like John Cena's warmed them up.
Yeah.
So if John Cena goes to AEW, that's huge news for AEW. I think the fans would be pretty on board. They'd be like, yes.
I think
Just
for me personally, I think I wouldn't mind it personally. But I think there
what
are
if
fans
John
out there
Cena goes
they're
to New
like,
Japan? I like you.
That's a good
If,
thought, though. That's a thought.
if John Cena goes to New Japan, I think John Cena would love to do a full tour. Maybe not a full G1 tour because that's a lot of matches really quickly, and he's not the youngest guy anymore. But I think if he did a bunch of multi-mans, he could team with a lot of the baby faces in New Japan.
I can see him being an Ichiban.
He could be in Hantai, yeah, like, or even him teaming up with Bishamon kind of makes sense. Fighting champions.
I never thought about that, but yeah, I kind of
Him,
mind
Goto, and
seeing that.
Yoshihashi sort of click, like. But you could give him okay, if we're being out there, you send John Cena to Bullet Club.
Oh man,
And just because everyone wants heel John Cena. If in this hypothetical he's going to New Japan, let him go full heel. Let him join House of
Why not?
Torture and just be full bullshit heel.
Why not? That's true, Johnny. Hulk Hogan did more moves in New Japan than he did in America, man. That's true.
Hey, you got to work to your crowd, right? The American crowds don't always love technical stuff. Canadians and Japanese love that more technical wrestling a bit more.
Yeah.
And then Mexico's like a lot of more flamboyant than technical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, you just got to know your crowd. Hulk Hogan knows how to work a crowd. If he has to start doing arm bars to Inoki to get that reaction, then he's going to do it.
Now, the thing is, I'm not the biggest fan of Hulk Hogan, as anybody that watches this channel knows, but I do respect the contribution that he gave to the world of wrestling. That I'll admit.
It's hard to ignore. It's hard to not give credit where it's due. So if he's going to adapt to a different environment, then good for him, right? Set the example.
And I'm like I said, I'm the type of guy that gives credit where credit's due. I may not be a big fan of Hogan, but I see the appeal, and I see what he's done for the business. That
I loved him as a kid.
I see that.
Right?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't even like him as a kid. I was more of a Macho Man fan, really.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I see. I was so young, I couldn't help but love Hogan. He was like bred into me.
I don't know. I guess as a kid, to me, he just came off really cheesy. I was always a fan of the heels.
I guess it depends on how old we are too, because I'm an '86 baby. So if I'm watching, so it's the same. Yeah. But I guess it's like Marvel DC, right? Macho Man and Hogan, because I'm Marvel guy. I like a little bit of corniness in my superheroes, which is funny now because I hate Hogan because he's so corny. No, give me some strong style, baby. I can't watch this like Shakespearean stuff. Who should be the fourth member if it's John Cena? Oh, it's got to be either Ishii or Yo, because that's the other Chaos member that kind of floats around. But to have John Cena and Tomohiro Ishii on the same team would be
wild, dude. That'd be
mind shattering, dude. But I've seen a few people. Maybe we can do it on AZ sometime. People were saying, well, if we can trade people from company to company, who would we trade from each company, and what would you do with the person with the trade?
Yeah,
And it's like that's some pretty. You could have a lot of fun with that.
definitely.
Because even let's say for hypothetical, you take Finn Balor out of Judgment Day. No, not out of him, but we're gonna take him and we're gonna send him back to New Japan for a month. And his whole story is like, I created Bullet Club. Look what it is now. Blah blah blah. That's fun. You could get 2-3 months out of that.
Yeah, well, you got a point. Johnny says Hulk Hogan lie telling is amazing.
Well,
I agree. That man can lie out of his ass, and it's amazing how he does it.
everything? Don't you know everything Hulk Hogan said is like it's always correct?
Yeah.
Didn't you know he was going to be the bassist for Metallica?
Oh my god! I remember when I first heard that. I was laughing my ass off, dude.
You remember when the
Lars
Undertaker?
and then Lars is like, I don't even know who the dude is.
Yeah, remember when the Undertaker injured Hulk Hogan's neck on a tombstone? You watch the video.
Yeah,
there's like 3 inches of space between his
never
head
touched
and
the damn chair. Never touched it.
Not even close. Perfectly
That was
safe maneuver.
That was like the most safe tombstone I've ever seen. Oh man,
Hogan's a real piece of crap, but
the thing is that his lies are just hilarious, though. I mean, they're just off the wall lies.
and the funny thing is, if Ric Flair, like, he could tell equally like crazy stories, and people would be like, "Yeah, no, I believe it." Yeah,
Right.
like if Ric Flair told you that he played basketball with Prince, you'd go,
I believe it.
Yeah,
I totally
no,
gotta believe that. I would also believe that Prince whipped his ass because Prince could ball. Prince was a baller, man. I don't know if anybody knows that, but Prince used to be a baller back in the day.
Is this fourth member? Is this John Cena, Yoshihashi, Goto, and now Adam Page?
Adam Page.
Honestly, that'd be the most mental team up ever in professional wrestling. Like Adam Page would definitely fit with Bishamon because they're all kind of scrappers. I think John Cena is the only outlier there. But if you put John Cena with Ryusuke Taguchi and just let them do comedy, him with Toriano and just let him be silly.
I'd like to watch that, honestly. I want to see where that would go.
That would be money, dude. That would be so funny.
Johnny says, "Let me tell you something, brother. One time I was supposed to body slam. One time I was supposed to body slam Michael Jackson in the Beat It video
in front of 483 million people, brother."
Oh,
that's good stuff.
Looks like Okada was going for a tombstone, but he stopped at the pass.
Shane Taylor, Will Ospreay could be a pretty good match. Shane Taylor's a bit basic for me, but when you got a high flyer and like a thick guy, you got a good base for the high flyer to land on.
I mean, it could be a fun match done the right way.
Yeah, and Will Ospreay's good at that. When he gets hit, he can do the backflip from the lariat thing.
Yeah.
Which makes him look like he just got crazy inside out lariated, and I love that stuff.
Not sure where Connor. I think he's having technical difficulties. He'll be back very soon, though.
Tough.
He's probably having to reboot everything. I've had to do that plenty of times.
I see what you're saying, the fourth man. Yeah, we got sidetracked there, that conversation. You're talking about in the upcoming match. Yeah, so the Elites, because Eddie Kingston got injured. Yeah, I wonder if that kind of sours something if Eddie Kingston got injured on a New Japan match and then couldn't show up for an AEW event.
Raymond says
so
Tony Khan should bring some of the roster from MLW into AEW, like Matt Riddle. Well, you know what? I feel like that wouldn't be a bad idea if you can do it right. You know,
I think Matt Riddle might specifically be a bad example, but there are some great wrestlers in MLW that could use a little bit of love. I think you just got to find the right way of doing it. A common complaint, criticism about AEW is there's a lot of outsiders coming in, but there's not a lot of plot to why they're coming in.
right.
Like in I hate to go back to this but in New Japan, when they have a tournament, you get someone from the outside, but the logic is, well, they're here for the tournament, and after the tournament, they leave. It's like, okay, at least it makes sense. But sometimes when like Vikingo will show up for like 1 week, and you're like, did you just put them on for fun, or? And Matt Riddle might have a little bit of a black mark on him if you haven't heard his story about his New Japan run.
I've heard stories.
I think he upset a couple people. So from from what I heard, he was defending the title on shows where New Japan had no idea that he was defending it.
Really? How could that be?
So instead of saying, hey, New Japan, I'm on these shows, can we promote them as these title defenses? He just would show up and say, hey, I have this belt. Tell them it's a title defense.
Damn. That's a bad look. That's a bad look. There he is.
John Moxley needs a break from hardcore matches. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't think we'll see it. Because Mox loves that style.
He needs a break from AEW, really.
I knew you were going to say that, Connor. I knew he was going to say that.
The stuff
he is technically the New Japan champion, so if he were to disappear for a couple months to defend it over there, it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, I also that mainly Jericho and Moxley do, like what they used to do when AEW first started was really good. And then over time, they're just doing the same stuff, and then it's just gotten kind of stale.
Yeah. Mox should, do you remember Mick Foley's ECW run where he did this like anti-hardcore stuff?
Yeah.
So he'd pull out a table, and then he'd go to put someone through it, and he'd look at the crowd and go, nah, and he'd refold up the table and put it back under the ring.
That was some good work, man. I remember that stuff.
Mox could potentially do some of that.
Like
you guys only watch me when I put my body on the line. Nah, 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 nah.
It's kind of like Billy Kidman did, but it wasn't a weapon; it was a move. It was the moonsault
shooting.
The shooting star. Yeah.
He injured. He like legitimately injured Chavo Guerrero, but they put it into a story that he wasn't.
Yeah, his knee went into his. He hit his knee.
To be fair, he had a terrible shooting star press. Like his shooting star press was worse than Lita's moonsault.
Oh God, you're not even lying on that.
Like, look,
I was always scared watching Lita do her moonsault because I always thought that Lita was going to break her neck doing it.
But okay, so to be very specific, I taught flips for a bit. So when you're doing a flip, I'm going to try to do it on the camera. You got to go straight, so you flip straight. Kidman would flip like this.
Yeah.
So his legs would go out, and he would travel, and that's how he kneed Chavo in the face. Cody's like. Kurt Angle's got a great moonsault. Cody's got a great moonsault. They perfectly over straight. Yeah. But yeah, Kidman had that wonky one. It was.
And believe it or not, Brock Lesnar. There was one time when Brock Lesnar had a killer.
He's got a beautiful shooting star press. He's so good.
Well, Darby's already back.
Didn't he get hit by a bus like a week ago?
Yeah, he got hit by a bus.
I don't know.
He was in the ring, man.
I mean, this guy, you gotta.
But you know what? If you got face Darby versus heel Jack Perry,
dude, that's not bad.
That's not a bad idea.
Hell no.
And then Jack Perry plays sniveling heel where we can't catch him, and then you have that dog collar match, strap match where it's like we're connected, and you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." But yes. We have options of Claudio could be the fourth member. And then if Nick Nemeth could be the fourth member is also not the worst idea, I've heard. Nick's real hot right now.
Yeah.
He would
Yeah.
I think he still has the what is it? The global IWGP Global Championship. He's the AAA heavyweight champion. Like, not the worst person to bring up.
No, not really.
Also, Darby wearing pink. I love it.
And that's the thing. I didn't expect Darby to return this fast after getting hit by a freaking bus. You know,
bus, dude. Oh my god,
dude, I'll be laid up right now if I got hit by a bus. I would not be moving.
I would give up on life if I got hit by. I would just put me in the coffin. You don't have
But
a coffin.
I'll give it to Darby, man. I'll give it to
Put me
Darby.
on
The
the
dude
ground.
has balls of steel, man. Because there's things that he does that I would never try. So I give it to
Yeah.
him. You know, I'll give my hats off to him. See, Connor had more technical difficulties there.
I was
He'll be
gonna
right
say,
back.
should we wait for him to wrap up here?
He's the one that presses the button. So I guess
Press
we
the
have to wait.
button. So do you watch a fair bit of New Japan?
I watch it when I can. I don't watch as much as I should, but I watch when I can.
Okay, so I'm pitching the idea that we do an episode of AZ on. Currently, they're doing a light heavyweight tournament, so we could talk a little bit about that, and then pitch how we would book an AEW light heavyweight tournament. Because there's a few guys that are smaller, like Hook, even in Ring of Honor, that you give them a cool junior heavyweight tournament, call it like use the Owen Hart Invitational, but make it a round robin.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot you could do, and a lot of people that would really it would really help. 2 blocks of 9, you get 18 wrestlers. We could figure that out. We can make that work.
it shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a couple of New Japan people and we'll turn that into an hour.
Yeah, so we got the return of Darby Allin.
Yeah,
I don't see how he's back. So someone tells me
I
he's
don't
not
either,
cleared.
dude.
Someone tells me he's not cleared, but
He might not wrestle until that match, which would make sense.
that's just
Go out, hit a couple people, don't take bumps.
Yeah,
because I remember he was supposed to be out for at least 5. Like it was a while.
And you could always do the Sting gimmick with them and just have them in the rafters. You don't have to have them work, you know?
yeah. I mean, he can still have a place on television, of course. Yeah.
Not bad at all.
But I think in all it was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. What do you
Darby
say?
Allin's like Wolverine. weren't you just stabbed? I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine.
Just a flesh wound.
I'm gonna limp it off.
Yeah. What did you give it, Mr. Jacobs?
Oh, let me see. I guess. I mean, like I said, I mean the show was pretty decent. It wasn't bad. I think I'm gonna land on solid 8.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty
rating,
good.
we're rating the show.
I thought it was pretty good. Everything was very predictable to me. Everything. I mean, start to finish, everything. I'm gonna give it a straight up 7.
Are we
That's fair.
doing numbers, or can I make up my own scale? Because I'm gonna give it a hard mid. Like, everyone's good on the show. Like, technically everything's great. Like, they're building certain things, they have certain people on, but yeah, there's just that predictability is a good criticism to call for it. Like, ups and downs is a good criticism. Like, I think there's okay criticisms to make that are fair, but no one's like messing up. Like, there wasn't any like Sandman going out there drunk. There wasn't any Jeff Hardy incidents. Like,
True.
Everyone's doing their job really well, but there's just it's like a spinning tire that hasn't sort of gripped the ground.
Yeah, I get you. I get you on that.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's not one of the best tips or the worst, but
Oh, I've seen some nitros that were worse. So,
Oh yeah,
so I'm not
yeah,
going to complain about quality wrestling.
WCW Thunder. Now, don't get me started on Thunder. That was
Ooh,
bad.
WCW Blunder on YouTube is a great show. If you guys want,
I've
like,
watched that.
old,
Yeah.
oh, fantastic! I have to. I think Connor's trying to wrap us up though. So
yeah. I see a few more comments I want to show up before we close out. That's definitely not going to happen now. But when Heyman comes back, you got to think he'd be with the Elite because they don't like swerves. He doesn't like swerve
Right.
either. So
So
that could be his
MMA
ticket.
is my friend.
That could be his ticket to get in the world title shot through the Elite because they don't like him. He doesn't like him, so they'll give him a title shot. Heyman was here before. Yeah, basically what I just said. So I should bring in. He doesn't need any of those people.
we had a small chat about it and how it would be nice, but they have to be done in the right way where it's not just more of the mess.
Like they got so many people that they don't know what they're doing without them.
They should focus on what they have, honestly.
I don't disagree with some of these people being more involved with Forbidden Door, because Forbidden Door started as AEW versus New Japan, sorta.
Like it makes sense for Forbidden Door, but like anytime outside of the year, like they're never focusing on AEW. It's always about other stuff besides AEW.
I think that's fair. If it's a themed event, maybe you can have one more, not Forbidden Door, but have one more event in the year. So twice a year, you're going to get a big show where you can get Suzuki, you can get Matt Riddle, but it's going to be themed in a way where it makes sense and it's not just part of a big mess.
Because AEW's got so many people that if you're a young wrestler and you're trying to make your name, I don't see how you'll be able to do it.
Yeah,
so many people coming through and
hey, maybe if they had some sort of more tournaments or something.
Oh, think about that one.
Oh, something we could pitch for that. Yeah, I know. I think like it doesn't have to be that, but I'm just memeing it at this point. But yeah, they do need some sort of framework to help make sense of some of this stuff coming in.
Clarkly, I don't have it either. Any comments about the fourth member? We already know the fourth member is going to be.
Here you go. Keep going all the way down. Johnny's got a good one here.
Heard Matt Riddle defend the belt at an airport.
He had to defend it from the TSA because he was all cooked out.
TSA.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
I hardly doubt he's cleared. I read in an interview that he said he wouldn't be back till August.
After what he's been through, you know.
So he's wrestling injured, really. But
which is
Darby,
not. Don't do that.
Which Darby's wrestled injured probably plenty of times, and we didn't even know it, or he just hit it real well. But what match you looking forward to the most? Double or Nothing. For me, it's Malachi Black and Edge.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Yeah, probably that one. What about you?
I'm just quickly looking at the card because of my memory's not the best.
No, you get Swerve, Christian Cage, Tony, Deeb, Mercedes Will, Anarchy in the Arena. Well, I mean,
Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay. Oh yeah, May 26th. Yeah, I'm gonna say I don't know. Roderick Strong versus Will Ospreay sounds pretty good to me.
That's gonna be a solid match.
That's going to be an excellent working match. Roddy is such a good worker, and Will's at the top of his game right now.
No. Double Night should be. I'm curious to see how that's going to be like. For the good or the worst. We'll be back for Talking Elite tomorrow night. I'm not sure what the topic is going to be about. It could possibly have something to do with Owen Hart. I don't know. That was in talks in our group chat. I know that. But I don't know if we'll be here for a Collision and Rampage. I can't do that 3-hour stuff. mean,
Yeah, it's a bit much.
I could have done that in 2021 AEW.
Maybe we can take that time that we would have put on Rampage and we can do a couple other topics of AEW just to take advantage of the time.
Yeah, we could. Like 2019, 2022 AEW, I could have watched a 3-hour show. But just now, I got so many predictable matches. I couldn't sit there and watch a 3-hour show.
Oh, I totally agree.
I have done it before, and it was like I don't like to watch wrestling as a chore. I don't like to watch it as a chore. I don't want to do something because I have to. I want to do it because I want to.
I don't want to do wrestling as a chore. I want to do it as actual paid work.
I totally get where you're coming from on that one, because when it becomes a chore, there's something wrong, you know?
Yeah, for me, that's how AJ's been feeling, to me at least.
It's a lot of wrestling in the week that some of it doesn't always stand out, so it's
from being a day one fan of AEW, I can see a lot of things that they've kind of it doesn't have that same feeling anymore. It doesn't have that same. I don't know.
Well, it's like what probably the WWE fans said in like the PG era coming out of like Ruthless Aggression. You know, there's probably an equivalent, like there's a je ne sais quoi that's not clicking, that's not there.
Yeah. Well,
but hey, that happens to every company. That happens to every TV show. You know, you can't, unless It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, you can't be on television for that long and banger after banger. Like even big shows like Simpsons, South Park, they've all had their sort of ups and downs and try stuff, and it doesn't always work.
I feel like a lot of AEW's problems could have been avoided. Just, I guess they need a booker in AEW. They need a booker, not delegation. They need a booker, someone that knows how to book. Like they're experienced in episodic TV of wrestling. They know what works, what doesn't work. Who not to put in a position, who to put in a position.
I think a good. I'll try to make this short because I know we are trying to wrap it up. But in so WWE, who's like the main creative? It's like, well, Hunter's in charge, and he's got his guys. And if it wasn't them, it was Vince. You're not second guessing Vince. No. You know what I mean? If you're in New Japan and Gato's in charge, Gato's been wrestling since the 80s. Like he's a 40-year veteran. You're not gonna. You might try to converse with these people, but you're not gonna go, no, Vince McMahon, I'm not doing this.
Right.
But maybe Tony's a little softer. Like if Chris Jericho goes, no, I'm not doing this, is he going to go, well, what do you want to do? You know what I mean? Like it might need a stronger hand to just say, no, do this. You know what I mean? Because who knows if that's the problem or if it's not the problem, but.
Well, Tony actually admitted that one time that it was during the Matt Hardy stuff. Like, remember the teleportation thing? He said that he was talked into doing it. So,
look, if it's broken Matt Hardy and it's a weird comedy character teleporting, sure, whatever. Who cares? Undertaker can teleport. Kane can teleport. It's not new to.
It's just, but yeah, there's comment. It kind of seems like he does that a lot, probably.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that where if Eddie Kingston's very vocal about something, he might go, well, I'm going to trust Eddie Kingston. Tony needs someone like a Pat Patterson not a Pat Patterson, bad example. He needs someone that's been there for 30, 40 years. Mm-hmm. Conan, maybe, like you need someone who's been there for decades and that can, who's going to say no to certain, trying to think of a good example, Killer Kowalski. He might be passed away, but if there's an older legend and they're going to go, no, you're doing the job tonight. They say, yes, Mr. Kowalski, I will do that.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people's gotten used to doing whatever they want to do.
That's the trouble, That's the trouble.
It's the WCW problem.
We were talking about that on Talking a Week, but just with fans, like they're saying whatever they want to behind a keyboard, but they won't say it to your face. True. but with the wrestling, it's reversed. They get away from saying too much. But yeah, I think time was a good show. Wasn't the best or worst. I like some of the story progressions from Malachi and Edge and Mercedes and Willow. Christian and the best story progression for me tonight was Christian and Swerve.
Yeah.
Which Christian can make stuff personal, and that's what he's been doing ever since he's.
Oh, you have two of the best wrestlers that are alive today in the ring at the same time. Of course, it's going to be a good segment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, check out all links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Spotify, and TikTok, Apple Podcasts, and we're everywhere. We're newly on Instagram. Links in the description below. Check out our Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, everything down in the description below. And also subscribe. We've been kind of slacking on that, but if you haven't already, definitely subscribe. Our goal, I'm pretty sure our goal is going to be 1,000 before the year's over with.
Oh yeah,
pretty good goal. I'm sure we can do it.
We're jumping pretty quickly, so by the end of the year, we should be able to aim for a 1,000 goal. Yeah, definitely check out the Worldwide of Wrestling podcast. We're fixing to be amping up to do a lot more content on there.
Oh yeah.
Just with my I don't know how I should say it. Just with some of the new things I'm getting into. I won't say new things, but getting back into, I guess. The Worldwide Wrestling podcast will be getting a lot more active. We haven't been active on there much because we're getting ready to really get going on there.
Oh yeah.
That's going to be something. And it was my personal YouTube channel. I wasn't doing nothing with it, so I turned it into a sister channel to the All Elite Zone. It already has 1,174 subscribers. So kind of cheated myself to success from that, but
humble brag there.
My own podcast. I mean, not podcast channel, but I wasn't doing anything with it. So yeah, check out that. We'll be doing SmackDown Friday for sure this time. I have a lot of ideas for that channel. Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for Talking Elite.
Peace.
Peace.